Imagine that guy, like, he was like, oh, I'm going to tell these people. And that 6-month pregnant lady that's waddling up that does not have hip problems, you know?
Yeah, it's like, first off, she's fat.
Yeah. Only in the belly.
To get yelled at. Yeah.
How are you only fat in one place? God, what kind of diet are you on?
Yeah.
You walk by a mirror and you're like pep talking in the mirror, like, are we doing this right now?
Yeah.
You really going to lose? You ready to lose?
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to die on this hill.
This man said
he said gardening naked.
Gardening naked, and he slipped and fell. Mind you, this is nighttime.
Slipped and fell.
He's gardening in the moonlight, right? But when they pulled it out, it was a plastic cucumber. All right, so we like pull up, and mind you, my wife is 6 months pregnant right now.
Hey, congrats.
Thank you, bud. I'm really excited. It's my
your
third kiddo.
Wow.
And we pull up and we're running inside because she's got some lady problems going on because she's pregnant, so things are happening. So we're like running into Walmart, and this guy comes up and he's like, hey, can I ask you a question? And we're like, yeah, you know, of course. And we're kind of like dressed up, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, why'd you park there? I was like, what? I like looked back at my car, and I was like, cause I can. And he's like, why did you park there? My wife is like, I don't know. He's a disabled veteran, and I'm pregnant. Like, what do you mean? And the guy like looks. He goes, there are people that really need it.
You're like, yeah, you're looking at him.
I was like, that's me, dude. I'm the guy that needs it. And I was like, dude, you've assaulted my wife. Like, you walked up. She's 6 months pregnant. Like, I hope you feel good about yourself. I hope you go home tonight and tell your wife how you were a tough guy. Parking lot police, right? And my wife walks away, and I'm like, and if you do anything, I might break your face, you know? Like,
Nice.
and he was like, oh, no, I'm so sorry. The truth is
Gave
that
a little kiss on the nose.
yeah. I was like, I put the handicap parking sticker. I just throw it on the dash.
Yeah.
I don't like hang it up.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, all right, I'm like, I'm not 80, so I don't have to drive around with it all the time.
Right.
So people
Yeah.
know that I'm like geriatric.
You know, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're embarrassed.
Yep.
You don't take pride in that, bag.
I don't.
You should wear it around your neck.
Should I? No. Should we get a chain?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should do.
sweet, dude.
Yeah, we should do a chain.
Handicap.
I think that could be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, imagine that guy. Like, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell these people," and that 6-month pregnant lady that's waddling up that does not have hip problems. You know?
Yeah. It's like, first off, she's fat.
Yeah. Only in
she
the
deserves to
belly.
get yelled at. Yeah.
How are you only fat in one place? God,
Yeah.
what kind of diet are
Work
you
out.
on?
Yeah.
That's crazy because people like that have nothing better to do. They don't have anything better to do all day.
He
So they
was
see
sitting in
something,
the
they point
parking
it
lot
out.
waiting.
They see something, they point it out.
God, I just the audacity to walk up to like another grown man and his wife to just say something negative.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I just like, where are we at as a culture where like men think it's okay to first off, he approached my wife. He did not
Yeah.
approach me. We're both dressed up in like darker
To be
clothes.
fair, between the two of you, who would you rather approach? Probably your wife.
Well, yeah,
I've
I
never
married
even
her.
seen her,
I married
but, like-
her.
Here's the thing, too. Think about how much courage it took him to come up to you.
We should.
Break.
Yeah, respect.
are we-
Yeah, we should give him respect.
Are we
Yeah.
applauding him right now?
Yeah, I think we should give him. Yeah, no, but he approached my wife. So the courage it took for that grown man to walk up to a 6-month pregnant wife. What a respect for him.
Respect, dude.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
in-
guys who
in
would
some
never
form.
talk to girls, you know. And he was like, I'm gonna walk right up to her and just talk to her.
I'm gonna say it.
He had no pickup line ready. He's like, hey girl, why'd you park there?
Maybe he was trying to say something else. Maybe
Yeah,
he was
what
trying
if-
to follow up with something.
Yeah, what if I?
What
What if I didn't intercede? What if I just like let it organically play out? No, honestly, my wife's from Wyoming, and Wyoming is where men are men and women are too. So he would have got his butt kicked.
Yeah,
Like, it was much more likely that she would physically assault him than me,
nice.
because I am a good Christian, and
You said-
I
Yeah.
would
You
never-
said men are men and women are too.
yeah,
That's so funny. I just realized what you said.
Yeah.
Wyoming's a place. We got caught in a snowstorm yesterday up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it snowed like 8 inches.
Wow.
That's like this big.
Which is like
Yeah.
huge, but too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, way
That's
way
too
too much.
much.
Yeah.
How many months is the winter there?
All of them.
Yeah.
D, all the above.
That's right.
No, we get June and July and August. And then August sometimes. Like May 20th, a couple years ago, I was caught in a blizzard. And I could not, like, I almost ran over some elk.
Oh man.
I was like, oh.
What do you drive?
What?
What do you drive?
Is it that
in order to
the
be able to
truck
drive
out there?
Yeah,
over
the
an
truck.
elk?
Sweet.
I didn't drive over the
Come
elk.
on.
I stopped. I yielded.
That's why the guy's like, you don't need to park there.
No.
Look at this truck.
You can't park there.
You can't park there.
No,
in that.
we were driving my wife's car.
Porsche.
Yeah, we were driving my wife's car. So I was like, yesterday, not with the elk.
Yeah.
That car has
That
never
would go
seen.
under.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could,
He was just thinking, oh, this guy's got a Porsche. He thinks he can park wherever he wants. blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
what a jerk.
I wish I had a Porsche. You know?
Really, he was
Like,
just
I gotta
jealous.
tell him.
Yeah,
You know,
he
and-
just liked your car.
I really thought he was gonna.
You sure he wasn't complimenting you?
You know when you walk
Yeah.
up and you're like, can
Why'd you
I?
park there? Out of all the places, you picked such a common place.
Yeah,
for
you
such a
should
cool
park
car.
even closer to the front. No.
Yeah.
You should just pull it, put the hazards on, and leave
Yeah.
it there.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna
lights.
compliment me. Honestly, I was like, oh, this guy like compliment
Yeah.
the car, and I always say the first thing I always say, they're like, I love your car. And I'm like, it's my wife's. It's the first thing I always say.
Yeah.
You know, all glory to your wife.
All glory to the
Right.
wife.
Yeah. What do they say? In a marriage, there are a few things I've learned, right? And I've failed a marriage, and I'm trying to succeed at a marriage. So I can tell you guys, you can be right or you can be happy.
Amen, brother.
So you're gonna get choices
Here's
in
the deal.
marriage.
I married probably the smartest person I know. So anytime I'm like arguing with her, I'm like,
What am I doing?
yeah, what are we doing here? What are we trying to prove?
You walk by a mirror and you're like pep talking in the mirror, like,
Yeah. Hey,
are
moron.
we doing this right now?
Yeah.
You really gonna
Who are you
lose?
talking to?
You ready to lose?
You know
Yeah.
what happened last time?
Yeah, you're gonna die on this hill.
Yeah, and you're not coming back. So
Yeah.
there's no like glorious, after of this. It's gonna be bad.
I like the idea of these cameras, but I can't decide which one I want to stare at the whole time.
Yeah, is there a particular camera that we should?
No.
Okay.
You actually don't want to look at
Yeah, I was gonna
No,
say.
I'm gonna stare at
I think
this
we're supposed to.
I'm gonna sit like this for the editors.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I've been No, I think that's sultry. Honestly, I think our male viewership is like tripling.
I'm doing it. I dressed for the male gaze. GAYS.
That double entendre actually was pretty
That was
high
good.
key.
That
Yeah,
was
I think.
They say in a job interview, you want to sit with your palms up.
Yeah.
Just it creates
Is it energy?
openness and trust and
The whole
When you
like
embrace,
not closed off.
should
Yeah.
you imagine?
Don't sit like this.
Imagine you show up for an interview, right? And like your employer is like going to meet you for the first time, and instead of shaking his hand, you just come here,
Come here. Hey, buddy.
bring it in.
Hey, it's good to meet you.
Yeah, bring it in.
Yeah.
Boomer, sit.
I'm glad we're
Good boy.
doing this because I was thinking the other night, I was laying in bed thinking, times are so hard and unprecedented right now. You know what the world needs? Another podcast with four white guys.
Four white guys.
4 straight
Just
white
talking.
dudes.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Grant, I don't mean to call you out, but there's actually 5.
Yeah. That's because one of us
There's
is gay.
5.
Oh, we don't know which one it is?
Russian
Yeah.
roulette.
That's where
Oh, it's roulette.
We're actually here to
Welcome
figure this
to the
out.
Among Us podcast.
At
One
the
of us is
end,
gay, and y'all have to vote.
Yeah. Who's the imposter?
at the end of this, Zach, you're gonna have to guess who's.
Well, we're gonna turn off the lights and play Who's in My Mouth, right?
Yeah.
No? Did I just give it away? I did not. That was
Yeah.
wrong. That was. Tyler, you've been really quiet. You look sleepy.
You
Yeah,
look like
can we
you have
address
a
it?
Nice haircut.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does
I
look really
appreciate
nice.
That.
Oh.
I actually did. I think I got 2.5, 3 hours of sleep last night. So, yeah.
Same.
Something like that.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Look
I
at
know,
it. Would you look at it?
I
Just look at it.
my wife got back from work around 6:37.
That's
And-
a very specific time. Tyler.
Yeah, and
She got back at 6:37 a.m.
yeah, not
She
6:38,
got
not
back-
6:36. No,
It
it was
was-
6:37. I remember because we were
Yeah.
walking in.
I happened to look at the clock.
Yeah, I happened to look at the clock in that
He's
moment.
counting down the minutes. He's like
Right.
36, 58, 59, 37.
7.
Time.
Okay. Did he pull out his diary?
Yeah.
Dear
I
diary.
gotta remember this one.
Yeah.
But no, and she was having a really tough. She's pregnant as well.
Congratulations.
And, thank you.
Is this your first?
Yeah, it's her first. Yeah, thank you.
Very cool.
What are you having? Just kidding. Don't tell me.
That's right.
He may not be gay.
We're finding out today, and so that's.
Oh, you are?
That's the joke.
We found out last week.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
What are you having?
You guys found out last
Yeah.
What are you having?
Boy.
Nice.
What are your other two?
So many. Boys.
My oldest is a girl.
Okay.
My youngest boy. And now the baby will be a boy.
Well, are you not gonna let them choose?
Oh.
A baby.
Or a they.
You having a baby?
A baby. What does a baby do?
I don't know.
Vibes,
A baby vibe.
Just
right.
vibe.
Just vibing
That's
out.
exactly
I don't know
right.
why we're trying to.
Yeah.
There's a really important quote from Jody High Roller.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If y'all can get behind Jody High Roller.
Tick tock it in my Jordans. Yeah.
Tiptoeing in my
Yeah.
dog.
And then what's the song about his grandma?
I don't know.
He has a song about his grandma,
Oh,
and it's pretty
yeah.
high class.
He did
Yeah.
one with Mac Miller called
Who's that?
Mac Miller.
Yep.
He was a really phenomenal rapper.
You're gonna use the word phenomenal?
Yeah, to me, I thought he was phenomenal.
No, I'm just pressing you. I agree. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know.
His death is funny. The death was not funny. It was interesting to me. His death was one.
No, he's intrigued by death.
I think
We're
all of us
learning a
should
lot
be
about
little intrigued by
Grant.
A lot of people are. Yeah.
I think everybody should be intrigued by it. If you want to explore death and life in the crossroads there, read the book When Breath Becomes Air. It is about a guy who was a neurosurgeon
Yeah.
and always had a passion for English literature
Okay.
and was so interested in the exploration of the meaning of life
I could not be
In a-
further away from this man on.
in a figurative sense,
The life
right? In a
spectrum.
literary sense, exploring that, and then what it means to biologically live. So he went the medical route, and then he got cancer, and
Plot twist.
had been putting off having a kid with his wife until he got through. I think he was doing a fellowship or something really intense with his neurosurgery, whatever, and. Incredible. This is his memoir that he wrote while he was dying.
Wow.
And basically he was like, okay, now that I'm dying and I've devoted my life to learning about the meaning of life and the meaning of life, let's explore it.
What was his
Incredible.
conclusion?
I'm not going to spoil that for you.
Was he
except
religious?
for basically he talks about it. I highly recommend it.
I'm just amazed that Grant read this. Did you audiobook this or did you read
I read it
Okay.
when we had our daughter, my first kid. I had a friend who was like, hey, I read this when we had our first kid, and I highly recommend it. So he gave me his copy, and I read it in like the beautiful, for us, right after Josephine is her name.
Beautiful
right after
name.
Josephine was born. It was this blissful, celestial space outside of time and worry. It was wonderful. All we were concerned about was keeping this precious little heartbeat beating.
Yeah.
And so, in the quiet of our tiny apartment, I'd read the book. And when I say I bawled my eyes out,
Yep.
I was a mess. It was waterfalls out of these eye sockets. Highly recommend it. That's not where I was going with this.
Yeah, I don't know what we were
Yeah.
talking about. Cool book though.
Tyler. Yeah. So you got home
Oh,
6:37.
6:37.
Yeah,
Yep.
6:37.
Man,
and,
that was a jump, huh?
She's just been having a really tough time, kind of unwinding and kind of relaxing. And I couldn't set an alarm because if I set an alarm, that would completely reset everything. She would have to fall back asleep again. And this is like a 30, maybe 45 minutes process. And so I walked that tightrope of helping her fall asleep, but then also not falling asleep myself, and I fell off that tightrope.
So what were you? What was your YouTube or Google? What rabbit hole did you jump down?
Yeah, in order to stay awake.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can't pick up the phone. You gotta scratch your back or whatever. Be there and not moving and not distracted because she's gotta. Yeah.
Oh, so you were kind of all night. All night you were attentive?
Well, no,
this
I
morning,
mean, like,
6:37 a.m.
yeah, no, for like the hour, for the hour that it.
The AM
took
PM
you-
thing just
Yeah.
changed
There
my.
it is.
Yep.
See, yeah,
We got it. Yep.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Okay.
Still a long time.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
And so I was asleep for maybe what, like an hour and a half, and
So you went to sleep at about 5:07.
yeah,
Roughly.
Rough.
I think that's a rough
Well,
estimate.
you guys got crazy schedules. Definitely not the average schedule.
both in the medical
They
field.
pick me
Yeah.
up from the.
I have no circadian rhythm.
What do you do in medicine?
That's because you're white. Rhythm's hard for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in basketball skills, unless you're Djokovic or
No circadian basketball.
And rhythm's not hard if you're Mac Miller.
True.
well, Nike's
Or
on my
dead.
feet unless
Well,
my cipher
yeah,
is
it would be
complete.
hard for him now.
yeah,
Right.
or like
work down at
Eminem or
the
something.
ER.
You do? What do you do there?
I'm a trauma tech there.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got to shadow ER. And when we're going through like our special operations stuff, they allow us to go and like spend some time and like just watch, right? Because you're gonna have to deal with all this stuff. Now, earlier in my career, I'd already dealt with like GSWs and stuff like that, and stuff. So I had a pretty good idea. But the things you see in the ER, this is a tangent. Wild. This guy showed up one time.
What a profound thing to say.
Yeah. He showed. Yeah, hot take. He shows up and he's like, I'm having some issues defecating. We're like, okay. The doctor's like, okay.
Could you explain defecating for those who don't know what that means?
It's a medical term.
Pooping.
Oh.
Yep,
okay.
pooping. Yep. Boomer's
I knew what
gonna
that
do it
meant.
right there here in a minute.
Oh, great.
Honestly, I might follow his lead.
Yep. Boomer.
Long time ago.
Yeah. Viewership is going way up.
Absolutely.
Like,
You're
as,
gonna have
This
to
might be on a different
reconsider
site.
where you post this.
This
That,
might not be on YouTube.
yeah. This.
Fetish
They,
is the-
yeah.
Yeah,
They
we're
might.
we're gonna
come
put
out.
the little 18+ notice.
Yep. Yeah,
on
we're gonna
the
have
YouTube
to.
thing. You're gonna have to have an account to get into this.
Both dogs are crapping.
Yeah, about
Big
dogs. Dogs. Anyways, this guy's like, I'm having trouble pooping, and
Sure.
the doctor's like, well, what could it be? And he's like, I don't know. Like, I've been fine the past few days. Blah blah. This and they're like, all right, well, like, let's take a X-ray of your intestines to see if anything's obstructive. He had like an 11-inch cucumber inserted in his anus, and
That
it
is
was
impressive, dude.
Lost track of it.
lost track. Yep.
Forgot about it.
Dang,
Yeah.
I needed that for my salad.
Yeah.
He's
No,
like, where
no.
did that cucumber
Can I? So after they had to surgically remove it, right? And when he comes out, well, they'd asked him like, how did that get there? And he said he was gardening
Why did you
naked.
ask that? How did that get there?
We know how it got there.
This
We
this
all
man
know how
this
it got
man
there.
said
No.
He said gardening naked.
gardening naked and he slipped and fell. Mind you, this is nighttime.
Slipped and fell.
He's gardening in the moonlight, right? But when they pulled it out, it was a plastic cucumber.
Yeah.
I was gardening in my little tyke's garden.
My son's
By
gardening.
moonlight.
I just know that he said that as like a middle finger, verbal middle finger, like
Yeah,
I was
for-
gardening at night,
Yeah,
naked.
exactly. Yeah,
Also, night gardener. Severance.
yeah.
Anyways.
True.
Yep.
I was like, where does that sound familiar?
Yeah. A night gardener.
I was thinking of the. Have you guys ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Night man.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about like your selection pipeline, the job that you went into, the branch you were in. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps, and then when I started off in the Marine Corps, I was in the comm field. I was actually a radio technician, which meant my job was to like work on radios. But I went to a unit called Anglico where they were just like, we were deploying so much and we were really small teams, and like they would come back and bring me a radio and it'd have a bullet in it, and they'd be like, it doesn't work, and I'd be like, it was shot. Like, you don't work either if you're shot. So then they were like, hey man, you're pretty good at what you do. Like, do you want to come on one of these teams? And I was like, yeah, like I'll come on a team. So they're like 6-man teams. And so I jumped on it. And then we ended up working with the French Foreign Legion, Georgian Special Operations, just doing deployments in Afghanistan. And I was on these small teams just running around Afghanistan doing stuff. After that, I came back and I thought it was going to be I did something like, if you guys have ever heard of JTACs, they call in air, all the airstrikes and stuff like that. So I spent my time on the younger side doing that style of stuff. And then I went to the intelligence world. And I actually went, at the time, I was hard up for money. And I looked at the bonuses that they had. And so I was like, because I'm not motivated by money or anything. And I was like, ooh, what job pays the most? And like geospatial intelligence pays $50,000 in a bonus. I was like, don't even know what that is. Yeah. And actually, there was a podcast that came out with Joe Rogan, and he was talking about like the NGA. You guys ever heard of the NGA? It's the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency or whatever.
If you'd have given me enough time,
you would have got there.
That.
Yeah, the power of will.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I think I could have got it.
I think you could have.
I believe in
You
you.
could have pieced it together.
Yeah.
Context clues.
Ask again.
What's the DIA?
Oh, that's an easy one. I'll let someone else answer it because I don't want
That's
to ruin
way too easy, dude.
So
Yeah, so
easy.
it's 3 letters.
DIA, baby. It's
One of them is agency, obviously.
yeah, and the other one is
If it's an I, what is
Domestic
I?
Intelligence Agency. It's where they just investigate those who do domestic duties in the home. It is really just spying on housewives mainly, or house husbands.
I would love to be a house husband.
I've got one of my best friends. He and his wife were not loving life, and she was like, "I want to work," and he was like, "I'm so tired of working." And so,
Why do I feel that to my bones?
yeah, she was like, "Okay, quit your job." So he did, and now he's a stay-at-home dad that does.
Man.
He's a super handyman, and he picks up work whenever he wants to throughout the week when the kids are at school. He goes and does handyman jobs, comes back home.
Yeah, respect to that. Very jealous.
He is incredible.
What does his wife do?
She works for the Austin Parks and Rec department. She runs.
Parks and Rec?
Yeah, she runs
Like the show, dude.
all of their.
She's on the show?
I think she said it's not as much like the show as you want.
That's weird. I honestly don't believe that. I've seen every...
Yeah.
Real life
I
not
think
being
that's
like
real
TV
life.
shows?
No.
I worked in an office, and there was a guy that spilled chili. It was the same thing. And he could only count if you put it in the context of pies.
Yeah. So.
No.
Identity
yeah,
theft is
she
not a
runs
joke,
all of the
Grant.
citywide programs for special needs and inclusion activities. It's really cool.
That's really cool. I feel like that's a fun but nerve-wracking thing to be in.
Yeah.
Because
I have heard
special
about
needs kids are
situations-
really excited about things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And when you put them in a park and it's like, that's a cliff. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Careful.
no, and there's like so much that goes into making sure that, I mean, it's special needs, so you're having to make sure everybody is taken care of.
yeah.
I've heard about situations where I'm like, I don't know what I would do, and you handled that with such grace. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking swimming activities
dude.
and swimming
Oh, yeah.
lessons.
I would, yeah. It was hard enough to teach myself to swim.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a good swimmer. I admit that. Anytime I'm with my wife and we're swimming, I'm like, hey, if you're going down, I'm an Eagle Scout, okay? But I
Congratulations.
only
Thank you for
barely
your
passed
service.
that merit badge. I'm like, if you go down,
that
that's
what you
on
say?
you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we say
It's
thank you for-
equivalent to what you.
That's what I
Yeah.
think. I think he's pretty much a Navy SEAL.
Can you say thank you for your service to me?
Thank
please?
you.
Yeah,
Thank you for your
yeah.
service. Yeah.
There you
Sorry, I was really distracted by. I'm like, if my wife drowns, that's on her. Like, I can't save her. I'm not a good swimmer. But if I'm going down, she better come get me.
I had a psychiatrist one time. I'll get back to it, but I had a psychiatrist one time ask me a question, and she was like, "Well, if actually it was a psychologist, she wasn't pushing drugs, and she was like, well, if your son and your daughter were drowning, which one would you save?" And I was like, easy. My daughter can swim, so I'd save my son, you know. And she was like, well,
That's
like,
not what I asked.
yeah, she was like, that's not what I asked. And I was like, well, like, that girl's 13. She's got a shot. He's 8.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to need the help. And he's like, do you favor your son over your daughter? I'm like, absolutely not. Like my daughter way more. But
I've got a favorite.
like, she's got it. So like, she'll figure it out. And
what were they trying to get?
They were trying to determine, they're asking me questions about like humanity and stuff like that to determine, believe it or not, after enough deployments, I was struggling mentally. Weird.
Well, that is weird.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you go to Afghanistan a couple of times, Iraq.
Struggle.
Yeah.
None of us have mental problems ever.
Yeah, I was like, only people that deploy have mental problems.
Yeah.
But no, anyways.
That's outrageous. This sounds fake.
I was like, they were trying to determine if I was bipolar or sociopathic or psychopath, like all these kinds of things. You know what's really interesting is that they found that people that have bipolar tendencies, sociopathic tendencies, tend to perform very well in special operations because they're able to suppress the things that you need to suppress when that time
Feelings
comes
and
to
different
pass.
things. And,
So like, turns out I'm not a sociopath or a psychopath or any
Hey.
of that. Yep.
Look
Passed.
at you.
Congrats, bro.
Hey.
Passed
Good on
that
you.
test. But I do have the tendencies of that, which is also really scary.
Yeah.
And it was a very scary thing for me to like self-realize, like, well, like I have this level that I can dip into when I need to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like
you have certain things you can turn on and off.
correct, which is not, I think everybody does. I don't think anything that we do in the military and special operations is different, but the level to which we do it is way different.
I've never had to personally.
Yep.
In my job.
Yep.
In my career.
What's your career?
I'm a musician, and I've never had to
I coulda
find
guessed that.
somebody and kill them within 3 hours. So the tasks are a little different, right?
Yeah.
Right, a little bit.
Just a little bit. I mean, if you don't hit that E chord, like, I
man.
might cut your fingers off.
Yeah. Our liberty will be at risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually.
Yeah. Democracy
Depends on the
is
situation, I
shook.
It's like, yeah.
Like, if you miss drum a chord, it's like,
Yeah.
that's it. The end of democracy is
Right.
nigh.
That's one of your
Dude,
kids. Yeah.
There's probably periods of time where that was actually a thing, though. So
Yeah, imagine being the court jester.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say I was thinking about this. How'd you guys meet? Like, how'd you guys get
What's your
connected?
meet?
Literally a week
We have a
ago.
meet cute, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're scrolling
Wow.
on Tinder.
So he parks in
Grindr.
his parking lot.
So I parked my car, right?
He
And this
parks
guy
in his
walks
handicap
up.
spot, and I'm like, what a jerk. I need to.
Yeah.
So I go to his
Whenever
fat
he works,
wife.
I go up to him and his wife.
Yeah.
Bro,
Hey, Tubby.
Yeah.
Why'd you park there?
I want to be on a podcast.
You want to be on a podcast? How'd you feel?
Yeah, so his wife was like family. Her family was friends with
Jess's family.
my wife's
Oh,
family
From Wyoming.
In Wyoming, yeah. So
Wow.
she asked us to shoot their gender reveal.
Yep.
And then we shot it, and then I started talking to him. I'm like, "You want to come on a podcast?" So
What'd you do for the reveal?
I was so
And
upset
who
that I did
revealed?
not throw smoke
yeah,
because it's
it
like
was
I've been
so
throwing smoke, a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like market HLZs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I was like, we did smoke bombs, and so my brother-in-law laid on a cliff, like an
Yeah.
actual cliff. Like if he fell, it was not gonna be.
It was like 50 feet.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's only gonna die.
Yeah.
Whatever. I haven't rappelled in a few years. This
Yeah.
could be fun.
He's like lighting the smoke bomb. You're like having PTSD.
Yeah, he like pulled it. Yeah.
You're like, oh,
ducking,
get it
rolling,
out.
rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's blue smoke. Good. Like, if it was red, like I would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cherry LZ right
Goes
there.
back to that loyalty. You like jump on it.
I don't. Yeah, that's weird. I've seen some people do some crazy stuff with grenades. You want to hear a crazy story?
Oh,
Yeah.
I always want to hear a crazy
Okay.
story.
This is like
Except for on Tuesdays. No
What's
crazy
today?
stories on
Saturday.
Tuesdays.
Saturday.
Okay,
We're
today-
good,
okay,
okay.
we're good.
You need to tell your watch story too. Mini story.
Which one?
Analog versus digital.
Okay, yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll tell that. So we're in Afghanistan and we're helping out with an ODA. That's the Green Berets, and the ODA team chief is going through this house, and we're on a support by fire position, controlling some air, and I'm like watching this guy, and he's going inside this house, and you're not supposed to like 1 or 2 man clear rooms. Okay. It's just like the command does not approve that because obviously liability, the risk to force goes way up. So like when you see cops go in like 1 man and clearing, like that's not a good idea. You know, you have the issue is when you come inside a room, you need economy of force. You need all that firepower to like overwhelm whatever's inside. Yeah. And imagine we're in this room right here. We can hear the gunfire out there. We're pretty aware that there are people. Going down, yeah. So what are we gonna point at? The door. So. Boomer, here. He's got a tick.
Don't watch CSI.
And anyway, so
because they definitely do it differently.
Boomer, here. Sit. And anyways, this guy goes in and pulls a grenade out. I'm like, watch him, and he throws the grenade in the room.
One of your guys?
Yep. The ODA team chief, right? The master sergeant goes in, shoots everybody in the room, and then comes back out, and I see him putting the grenade back in his pocket.
No way.
It never went off. He just threw the grenade in the room. And they jumped down.
He never pulled
the pin. He jumped. He threw it in it, and they like literally got scared, and then he walked in and killed them, and then put it back in his pocket.
Well, aren't you like limited to how many grenades you can use a day?
Yeah, it turns out it's not
on Call of Duty.
Day.
I think it's like 3.
That's right.
Yeah, it turns out you can carry whatever you want, but like. We always make the joke, like when you first go into combat, you have like everything on your kit, and you can tell people that have never been to combat because they have all this stuff on their kit, right? And you're like, that seems unfortunate to carry around. Like,
heavy.
You're gonna walk 20K today. Yeah. You don't know that yet. Yeah. You're gonna be really tired at the end of the day. Grenades. They're pretty cool.
So your brother's hanging off this cliff.
Hanging off the cliff, and you start counting down.
Yeah, we start counting down.
From 10?
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
And his ability to count down from 10 is like...
unreal.
Yeah. Like I would say, beyond reproach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I've had to count down from 10 like 20 times in my life. So after, that repetition.
A lot of practice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I heard...
We started counting down silently towards the end. So it was like...
Get out.
5.
Did you go?
Wait, I can't... What's after... 3?
It's 2. Just 2 and 1.
2 and 1, yeah. And what was really cool is
he's rusty.
My brother-in-law's on this cliff, and he's holding on to this like bomb, and then he squeezes the bomb, and it just like.
Super cool.
What was really unfortunate is there were also the place we went to Timpanogos, right?
Timpanogos?
Timpanogos, yep. Yeah. I don't speak that. In Spanish.
Timpanogos.
Is that Ute?
I would assume it could be Ute, yeah.
Indian?
But I'm curious.
Native. You said that wrong.
Oh, sorry.
It's native.
Well, it depends, actually.
No, I'm pretty sure. I've been accosted by a person, and they said I cannot ask the question. It turns out when somebody says Indian, you're not allowed to ask dot or feather. That's like...
Oh. I understand that one.
Yep.
I understand that one.
Yep.
You can ask that physically. You can make the words.
You shouldn't.
Right.
So I just go with native. And then I know.
I agree. But it's interesting. That's not what this
because they could be speaking Punjabi, Timpanogos is probably not Punjabi,
Right.
I
think you're onto something.
Anyways, so...
so the unfortunate thing is you're on temp.
Yep, we're on temp. And everybody's there doing their, like, wedding photos, and there was a band there.
Yeah. That place is
a band was playing. Yeah, it was actually really nice. We had music. I don't know if it was the music I don't know if I would play it in my car.
I don't remember.
Remember, it was like
mariachi.
Yeah,
it was like
I would play that in my car though.
How'd you know?
Actually,
Sam, were you there?
I was there.
It was.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
I was there. I was the one playing it.
But you knew Spanish.
I was in the band.
I'm just kidding.
You're crapping on my band.
Yeah. Anyways, the smoke goes all the way down, and it's very thick, and it goes all the way down into everyone else's phone. You have videos of it, like coding people.
Oh no.
We were like.
And then we did another grenade, and he spun her around, and while we were getting the shot, he spun her into the blue mist.
So her hair
was coated.
Hair was coated blue.
This was just last week, huh?
Yep.
In a cool way, except it's $1,500 hair, so not cool.
Where'd you buy this hair from? Who's your hair guy?
No, my wife. Okay, I can't wait for this podcast. My wife is gonna kill me. So she went to her friends, got her hair cut. It cost $400. I don't know why.
Naturally.
And it was really bad.
Okay.
really bad. So our other friend is
Well,
like,
that's because you only spent $400. What kind of haircut were you expecting?
yeah. And you know, when you're pregnant and when your wife is pregnant, like they should not make major changes, and like a change to their hair is like as big as it gets.
My
that's a
mom
big
was
change.
like, after your wife has the baby, do not let her cut her hair.
Yeah.
My wife has this beautiful, long, thick, amazing hair. My mom was like, don't do it. She's going to want to chop it.
Why do they do that? Why do they want to chop
I don't know.
It's like a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
It's a
Quarter
mid,
life
it's a
crisis.
mid just
Quarter
brought new life crisis.
Yeah.
A mid just created new life crisis.
My wife's hair goes down to here. Beautiful, natural blonde hair, not Utah blonde, like when they dye it all.
Yeah.
You know, to look like the next girl.
Yeah.
But like real blonde hair.
Yeah.
And it got cut to here. And she sends me the picture, and I'm driving, and I'm like, oh. Like, and she's beautiful. That's not the issue.
You wrecked the Porsche.
I did. I almost. I was just like, looks great, honey.
Yeah.
But I knew I can feel her.
Yeah.
Like her emotions, and I knew she was like not happy. So we went to someone else, and they fixed it. But she had to get extensions, which my wife has never had extensions.
Yeah.
Natural, long blonde, beautiful hair.
never
The
did,
extensions were $800.
Ooh.
And then another $400 for the
Real
cut
hair.
and color.
Yeah, this is some real
Crazy.
premium.
It's grown in China and in India. They just grow their hair out and then they cut it.
Very Joe March.
How they make it
For all you
blonde?
Little Women fans.
I think they dye it.
Yeah.
I think they dye it. But the extensions were like 20 inches long. It was wild.
Hey. That's crazy.
I don't think Chinese
How did
people
they
walk
get it
around.
blonde?
Yeah.
They actually are on a steady diet of peroxide shots.
I didn't know. Could you tell I did not? I was caught off guard by that, Tyler. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's like, it has to do with their diet?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. Chinese
They dye it?
people typically don't have blonde hair. I
There's
would
blonde
say.
rice and there's white rice.
Right. Oh.
You would be the white rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They if they want their hair to be blonde, they eat the blonde,
blonde
rice.
rice. Classic.
Looks the same as the white though. You can't really tell the difference.
Boomer, are
Right?
you getting to know people?
Yeah.
So
You
No,
have to
it's over.
be trained.
Mm.
You have to spend many a year, many moons in
Lear-
the rice
you
paddy.
have to become a learned rice farmer.
Yeah. Dude, I would love.
A PhD in riceology.
Dude, my grandpa had a PhD in dairy science.
That's
What?
crazy.
He worked at did he work up at Gosner or in Logan or where?
I don't know.
Did he
So
work?
he got his. I know he got his bachelor's at Utah State.
Okay.
I don't know where all he. He got his PhD at North Carolina State.
Ah, yeah.
I know that we ended up.
Wolfpack.
Amen, brother.
Lived in North Carolina for like a decade. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool part.
Jacksonville, right on the coast.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, my kids still live there.
My uncle lives in Fuquay-Varina.
Yeah, right outside Raleigh.
Cool place.
It's about an hour and 45 minutes west of where I lived.
do you know what your dad's take is on the whole raw milk kind of wave that's happened recently?
Yeah.
He's
Don't be stupid.
dairy scientist.
So here's the deal.
Pasteurization's like important.
Pasteurization is important.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has drank milk straight from the teat.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Did he suck on the tit or did he squeeze it
I
out?
think he squoze it.
Squoze it. I want to know. To me, that's an important
Yeah. that's
indicator of I think that should be the sociopathic test.
My
You
If
give
you
you
can do
put
that.
a cow in a room and then you put somebody
It's
that's
a-
really
what do you-
thirsty.
Get
Yeah.
milk from it.
And then there is a cup, but it's hidden somewhere in the room,
yeah.
right?
Right,
And so then you just find out the different level. Sorry, the different
Do
levels.
A, B, C. No, put it on the table. A, pail, a bucket. B, a cup. C,
The cow.
It just says C, and it's blank.
And it's blank.
And then the cow's just standing back.
No, Grant, but
You
when
choose
people are
C.
given options, they choose the most logical option, right? That
Sure.
even a sociopathic person, I believe, would choose because they want to appear normal, so they choose what they think is normal. Take the ability of the option, like those options out,
Yeah.
and just
Where
put
does
them in a
your brain
room.
go?
Where does it go? And if you just put that tea in your mouth,
Oh yeah.
then we know. I don't even think
Never
there's
milked a cow before.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what we
surprised they
know.
didn't do that test on you.
the
Yeah.
cow
He's
test.
like, actually, they gave me the options.
They
That was the
did put me
problem.
in small rooms, so I had to go through torture school. It's called SEER. Survive, evade, resist, escape. And then at Marsoc, we go through an urban portion as well.
Was it A, B, or C?
C. So, and it's like a level 300.
Yeah.
So I went through like the real, like I went through
The fun stuff.
the fun stuff. So I got to learn how to do, like I might be loaded right now. Loaded is a term in the industry, which means that you still have your lock picking. I'm not loaded. That's a weird thing to do.
It means
But
you're still intact.
yeah, but
You're not neutered.
they like teach you. They teach you. All right, really funny. I have some stories about that. If we want to tangent to, are we
About
good?
circumcision?
No, about seer.
No, yeah.
No, not about
'Cause
circumcision.
That was I signed up for that the instructor.
Oh, to be. So you went through that's Jayadif that runs all that. So
That sounds like a biblical name.
my wife and I got caught up on. You know what this woman told me? She was like, "It's Psalm Sunday." I was like, "No, it's Palm Sunday."
Yeah.
She was like,
Sunday.
"She was like, no, it's Psalm," and she is like, you know, not holier than thou, but
Sure.
holier than me.
Yeah.
And
The B is silent. You're like, the S is silent.
yeah, I was like, the S is not there.
Yeah.
And then I Googled it, and she goes, Google doesn't know everything. And I was just
no.
like, you know
You're
what?
like, let's read.
Yeah,
Let us read the word.
the book.
yeah.
The book is here.
Let's
like
ask.
to imagine
Let's ask the
the 50s.
Catholics. What do they say? They're the ones that do.
Okay,
that
I don't want
believe.
to. We can't. All right, we can't. I grew up like a little Catholic.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Catholic, just a little. You know when you're like
Enough.
superstitious and then you're a little stitious?
Sure.
I was like a little stitious.
Yeah.
And Catholicism, I don't want to lose viewership here, but like, just in general, if we have to call it a cult, would we call it a cult?
I'd have to disagree on that because Catholicism is, you know, they
The
have,
pinnacle of Christianity?
well, because their entire
At one point in time.
the entire premise of it is that rests on tradition. You know, because like with the LDS
like the
Church,
Masters.
you know, with the LDS Church, its
love the
main
Masters.
its main premise is revelation and
Yeah.
kind of mono revelation, things like that. The entire premise behind Catholicism is like, hey, if we keep doing the same thing and we don't change it, do our best to do that, then we're doing good.
I think we should probably change the pedophilia, though.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, like,
there's
there are some things, yeah, that-
Well, I mean, they think that the person's going to hell. Like, they believe that the priest that is a pedophile is going to hell, right?
After they relocate him to a.
Yeah, after they keep him, after the cardinal gets demoted,
Yeah,
you
they're
know.
like, it's a bummer
yeah.
that priest is going to hell.
Yeah, you
Let's
could-
send him to Cincinnati.
Yeah, the nasty natty.
And the person that relocated him is probably going to hell too.
No, that comes from the papacy. Like, that's the Holy Father tells them where to go.
Did you all
Well,
watch that movie, The Two Popes?
Yeah, and
I did.
Incredible movie.
Really good movie. What about the one? I just saw one on a
Yeah.
Conclave.
I haven't watched it yet. No spoilers.
Conclave, amazing. Honestly,
Everyone that I respect as far as their movie taste goes is like, you would love this movie, and I'm like, I believe you. And Ray Fine all day. Right?
yeah, big fan.
Big. I mean,
I was gonna peg you as like a Schindler's List kind of guy too.
Me?
Well, not like in that sense. Okay.
Do I have your vote?
Cameras off.
Yeah.
We like it like cuts. We come back. We're sweaty in different seats. We're in different seats, like sweaty. Oh, is it hot in here, guys?
Yeah.
We mentioned this probably wouldn't
We're
make
drinking
YouTube.
like a gallon of water.
God, I'm really gonna need this water. I'm parched. Yeah, we just watched Schindler's List. It was tough. That red dress really got me. You
You were
know.
night gardening.
night gardening.
We could turn off the lights and play Earth
plowing.
Night Crawlers.
We were tilling the soil. Anyways, you're gonna peg me as a Schindler's List?
Yeah, Schindler's List guy.
Never seen it,
Really?
and I want to so bad. It's one of those movies where I'm like, this is going to be probably life changing. I have avoided any spoilers.
I have a movie theater. We should
Let's do it
we should do it.
right now. Let's go.
Yep. Bye. Yeah. Okay. We come back sweaty. So
Yeah.
Schindler's List. Wow.
Wow.
What a thriller.
You know, what was your favorite part? You know, there were a lot of great parts.
Yeah, Schindler. His
Schindler,
list.
what a guy.
His
like his
list, it was a long list.
Hey, I brought you guys something.
No way.
Should we break bread?
Can we break bread?
Can we break bread?
Do you know that's where the word compañero or companion comes from?
Compañero.
With bread? You share
With bread, yeah.
No way.
Whoa.
Con
great.
pañero. Yeah.
You know a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah, ese cuando era niño, mi abuelita habló conmigo para cada día. Entonces, I can hablo.
I
A
can
little.
hablar. I hablar.
Cada dia.
Cada día. So look what I brought.
Oh,
It's,
peanuts, baby.
these are bowl peanuts.
Mhm.
And it sounds like I'm saying boiled penis, but in the South we call them bowl
Bowl
Yeah.
of peanuts.
peanuts. Have you guys ever had these?
I have, yeah.
Have you had these?
I've never had them.
Tyler, great. No?
I don't know if I've ever had them from a can.
Okay. Okay, we're not in the
That's why you eat all
South.
food.
There is not some like sweaty dude that just, made these on the street. Like that's how we
Yeah.
get them in the South, right?
Yeah.
Growing up in the Carolina, well, like not growing up, but like spending my adulthood in the Carolinas, like it was very common, right? Very quotidian to drive down the road, see a guy on the
Great
side.
word.
Which one?
Quotidian.
Road? Oh, yeah,
That's a
quotidian.
fantastic word.
Yeah, nice.
They're popular
nice.
at gas stations, yeah, boiled peanuts.
Yeah, the gas stations
get
on the
them-
side of the road, right? And they're actually not like, so they're not, the peanuts that they use are not, they're green still. And then there's like a little process to it. But,
Did you ever see them in Florida?
Yeah, I saw.
yep. So like, there's something that's from the South that I really like that I thought would be cool if we just like kind of try on camera.
Let's try.
Yeah, and so I brought cups.
Look
And-
at that.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's here, take one
I'm gonna
down,
start
pass it
trying all
around.
food on camera. Any food
maybe
I
not
want,
I
all.
thought if you don't post on Instagram, you didn't eat it.
You didn't actually taste it.
actually
My taste buds don't activate unless it's postable.
Can you hold this? Yeah, I got you. I want to hear it pop.
Oh,
That's good.
yeah.
That's how you know it's good.
That's a
Boiled
hiss of
penises.
greatness. when I'm like, when I'm in the mood for something.
Oh, that looks so good.
What the?
I just want to swallow those
Oh,
all.
great.
Oh, yeah.
oh.
baby.
Oh, that was close.
It was so
Whoa.
close. All right. Looks good.
Shall
Yeah.
we partake?
Yeah, we shall partake. All right, this is how
that-
we're going to do it.
That just makes me want to dive my hand in there.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Can I just drink
Yeah.
it?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to.
We
I'll
gotta
be right
strain it
back.
a little bit, yeah?
I'll be right back. Give me 1
Yeah.
second.
All right.
Wait, where are you going? There is not a bathroom.
No, I don't need a bathroom.
Okay, sick.
He just needs somebody else's room to pour it into.
Yeah.
He's gonna go watch Schindler's List alone.
Pours it on
He's
the
gonna go
ground.
drink it. He's like, oh, I have to pour this out. Yeah.
He's like comes back. It's like
It's like dripping from his mouth. Sorry, I just had to pour that out real quick. Because that's super gross, right? We all agree.
boiled peanuts. Who drinks that stuff?
Yeah. That's like the mozzarella balls. I saw someone post, the plastic
Oh, yeah.
Tupperware of
yeah.
mozzarella
Yeah.
balls that comes in the little like water
Use
or
them for
whatever.
like salads and stuff.
Yeah, and I saw this thing where someone was like, they posted a picture of it and all the liquid was gone. And they were like, what do I do with the balls after you drink the mozzarella?
I just walked in on that. Over here.
So you guys met a week ago?
Yeah.
So why are you in
About a
Utah
week
if you
ago.
live in Wyoming?
So we have a house here, and
Okay.
for tax reasons, I can color that.
Sure.
I should cut this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we officially live in Wyoming for tax reasons. But
Yeah.
We have a house in Daybreak.
Cool.
Oh, we should talk about the Daybreak part.
Daybreak.
Anyways,
Wait,
here-
is it called Daybreak?
No, I think they
Dude,
call
here
it
we go.
Daybreak now.
I'm gonna fish some.
Yeah, go ahead. Grab
peanuts out of
some.
this.
These are boiled peanuts, and they're cold, which is really bad.
Does it taste good cold?
Yeah. Just
I was gonna say, most of the time
I normally eat them
I've
hot.
had them
Hot.
they're hot.
What is this?
Yeah.
The cups are for
Just,
putting in the
this
shell.
is that.
Yeah,
the
pick
cups are for
out
the
pick out a
shell.
couple nuts there.
Yep. So
I'm
So
gonna
just-
do one
Chew the whole thing.
because I don't know if from
no,
a
you
can.
don't. You don't chew the whole thing. What you're gonna do?
Okay.
Sorry. What you're gonna do? You're gonna take the peanut.
Okay.
You're gonna put it in your mouth. And you're gonna crack it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Once you crack it, you're gonna then
Pass that on down.
pop it in half. Right. Just crack it, and then you're gonna suck the peanut out.
Butt crack it.
Nice.
Nice.
And that is a bowl of peanut. And then you're just eating the peanut, and then the shell goes.
Okay.
You're struggling. So crack
I
it.
saw my 2-year-old daughter how to crack peanuts the other day, and she loved it.
Really?
But
She
it
eating
took
them
several
like
tries. Yeah, it took several tries of getting her to stop eating the shell. I was like, that is disgusting. And she's like this.
That could also be the sociopathic test. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
did
Here's
you
a
just eat
peanut.
this shell?
What do you do with it?
Eats the whole.
I'm not gonna lie, I just eat the whole thing. I'm serious. It's
You
too
eat
much.
the whole peanut?
Yeah, it's too much work to like crack it open and then you have a whole mess. Yeah, it's popping.
Okay, so how are we
That's
feeling
what's
about
wrong
it?
with this generation.
We have
You just
Surprisingly good.
yeah, like
Not
like
more.
I
is,
actually thought it was like.
Yeah, not
like,
bad at all.
What are they called? Like Colorado oysters or something?
no Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah,
They have different
I
flavors,
literally
too.
thought you
These
guys,
are-
like.
You ever
It
had
tastes
Rocky
like
Mountain oysters?
chips and salsa.
Yeah, it's like a
They have different flavors and whatever you soak them in. Right?
It's exactly
Yeah, I
like
remember
chips
had
and
these
salsa.
hot and spicy.
they are hot and spicy.
They're good.
Like
Is
my
this an
service
AMR
dog
thing?
got confused because we all looked the same. Like
Yeah, and I haven't moved my feet like a millimeter.
no,
so
you can do whatever you want. So what he's trained to do is that he's my PTSD dog.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trained to provide like pressure
nice.
on people that he thinks are having a tough time. You
Wow.
clearly. No, seriously. Like, so if people are having a tough time, he'll go and like jump up in their lap and put pressure on them, lean on them.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah. So
That's cool.
the other day I was in San Diego and I'm at this like convention thing, and
Pass me a Kleenex.
oh yeah, I should have grabbed napkins. That
Nailed
was
it.
Nice.
yeah. Your athletic ability.
No hands.
So good.
I would. You know what NARPs are? Non-athletic, real people.
An unathletic or undercover cop.
Yeah, narc.
Yeah, that guy looks like a NARP. Total. Those are cop glasses.
Are they really?
Yeah, I would
Oh.
like if you walked in, like if you tried to buy drugs with those, they would not sell them to
Wouldn't
you.
work.
Fuck.
But
I know I wouldn't.
elaborate on that. What do you mean?
Like there's nobody that does drugs that wears those glasses, because they'd be red lenses.
Dude, have you seen
Oh,
the,
true.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, Cartier, rose-colored glasses.
Why do they do that? Why do they wear the rose-colored glasses?
Who's they?
The drug people.
Okay.
drug people, of course?
You know,
I just wanted to.
Why did those people?
I did those.
Yeah. What do those?
What kind of those
Yeah.
people? I think it's part of their culture.
drug
Yeah.
Yeah, I think drug culture is like, if my eyes are, almost closed all the time, light hurts them. They're trying to.
Did John Lennon start that? I think he did.
Yoko Ono finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that lady is really.
Yeah.
What was Fall from Grace?
Have you ever
Okay,
been
we
a
were.
drug person?
A fall?
Okay,
I mean,
have
like,
you seen the video of John Lennon and Chuck Berry
it's
having a
hard
really
to
cool jam
fall from the
session?
floor.
And Yoko's there.
No.
Is
Did she ruin it?
pull it up. Hey, producer. Pull this
Jamie.
up.
Jamie.
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 Pull that up.
Jamie.
Yeah, so she was like this avant-garde
Yeah.
artist, and in this video, it's a full band, and it's John Lennon and Chuck Berry, and they're playing. I think they're playing "Johnny Be Good,"
Classic.
classic Chuck Berry song, and Yoko's on the side, and the video is really just promoting the quickness of the producer, because they're playing, and all of a sudden she just starts going. She takes the microphone, and I'm not gonna do it that hard.
Yep.
She starts going.
Yeah, I've seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The producer unplugs her microphone from the fast, so she's making this face still, and the sound goes away. But you can see once she starts, because she's back here.
So
Chuck
she
Berry's face, he's playing and singing. He goes, because he's like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
But anyway, she does. They put out this Yoko Ono tribute album recently, and
Does she deserve a tribute?
No.
so I didn't think so.
I don't think.
I didn't.
Tyler
think so.
feels some type of way about that.
I've been a pretty big Yoko hater my whole life, and I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan.
Makes
but
three of
there's
us.
a couple songs on there that are so good. There's one, David Byrne from Talking Heads.
Yeah.
He does. It's called "Who Can See the Wind." I was literally quoting it on the way here.
Were you?
Yeah,
When?
when we were talking about like the wind blowing,
Oh yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
and
Okay, if you had I had a situation where my iPod died in Afghanistan, and a buddy had a computer, but he only had 2 artists on it.
all right,
Okay, so you get 2 artists for 9 months. Pick your 2. Sam, we'll start with you.
2 artists for 9 months.
Yep.
this is a fantastic question.
This is
That's a
real
really
life,
good
baby.
question.
You're gonna get
This
a
is
good
real
answer
life,
from
baby.
Pretty
this
musically
guy
involved
right
too, Grant. So it
Off the
makes
dome,
sense.
without really thinking about it, Let's do.
I think you're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it. Waylon
anybody
Jennings. Waylon Jennings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Waylon Jennings?
Absolutely, Waylon Jennings, fantastic.
Okay. And who?
I don't know. I didn't say my second
Oh,
one
okay.
yet. Cardi B.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Man, I'm going with it.
Depends on the mood. Right, I'm changing it up.
Where are you at right now? Like, if you had to leave tomorrow? Because I know that next week you're.
I've been listening to a lot of Coulter Wall.
There we go.
Love him.
Fantastic.
You know, he's ranching all the time and he never makes music anymore. And he
Yeah.
doesn't show up to any award shows or does
He's
like
just
he
vibing.
works.
he's just working.
Okay, I heard him talk about this recently though, because everybody talks about the whole Joe Rogan thing where he's like, I'm trying to get Coulter Wall to come on my
Yeah, and he won't
podcast,
show
but
up.
he's like ranching all the time.
Mhm.
And Coulter Wall was like, it's become such a thing that I get more publicity from him talking about me not coming on the podcast than I would if I went on the podcast.
He was also, I think, in that same conversation, he's talking about, I'm not that interesting.
Yeah, I love
He's like,
that.
I'm really not that interesting. Like, I don't even know what I'd talk about. We'd be talking more about Joe Rogan than they would me.
Yeah.
Is what he was saying.
Which is, what
Pretty
a
funny.
guy.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
I know there's a guy,
Huber
John
said
Rosenberg, who was vice president, one of the vice presidents of academics at BYU.
Okay.
Brilliant guy. Has
Obviously.
spent half of his life in Spain. He's a Spanish literature romanticist. Like, I would go to him for advice when I was in college,
When you're Spanish romance.
and he would sit there. You'd tell him something. I was like, I'm really struggling with this, decision or whatever, because you're making a lot of decisions at that point in
Yeah.
time that shape your life. And he would listen, and he'd listen, and then he'd be quiet, and he would stare off, and then he'd go, in Dante's Inferno, there's a part, and then he would give you this allegory that he's just pulling, or he'd sit there, and go, I recently read an article in The Atlantic that talks about this. And he's so interesting, so fascinating. He's retired now. I called him, was talking to him. How's it going? You enjoying retirement? He's like, yeah, but I moved my office back home and I didn't have enough space in my study for all my books. So now we've converted my garage into a study for all my books. Such an interesting guy. But if you try and talk to him about him, he goes, I am the least interesting person or topic we could possibly talk about.
Yeah, his hubris is just.
He's like, I am not interesting. Can we please talk about something else?
Yeah.
I'm like, John, no, darn it. Anyways, that's not what we were talking about.
We should bring him on. That'd be fun.
Coulter Wall. We were talking
Yep.
about.
You're two.
I'm really curious about your two.
Yep.
I've got my one
It's like
for
myself.
certain. Yeah, my wife's music. Just kidding.
Boom.
That's the right answer.
Playing his cards.
You just
Yeah,
play, by,
you're
you just
gonna-
play it by
you're-
memory. You don't need that.
Okay, before my wife and I were romantically involved, I had heard her sing, and I was like, she is 100%. I had told my friends, I was like, my favorite, because we play a similar
Was it like a
game.
mixture of Jesus and Fergie?
Exactly.
Yep.
She was like levitating.
Fergie.
Anyways, I like, we play a similar game. It's like, who's your favorite male vocalist, favorite female vocalist?
Yep.
I'm like, male vocalist at the time was Samir Gaudier from Young the Giant.
Mm.
And as a female vocalist, probably Hannah Weber, actually. Or Celine Dion. I was between those. And they don't sound similar.
Yeah, my heart will go on.
It will, and it has. My number one is Devendra Banhart. He is my favorite musician of all time. I think he's brilliant.
Okay.
Highly recommend. He's one of those artists. I know that when I say it, we're like,
You have to Google it.
yeah, you're gonna have to look that one up. He's not so obscure. Like, it sounds obscure, but like, I mean, he's got like a million.
Did we all predict that the musician was going to pick someone we were going to have to Google? Did we expect that?
From Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, from Grant,
yeah.
I knew that.
I just met him, but I was like,
I was like, this dude's about to say something, and
no,
No,
it's,
no,
it's
it's just-
because your depth.
You're involved
Yeah,
in music
it's
a
'cause
lot more
this
than...
is this is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
It is. I'm gonna say Devendra Banhart, and then that one's easy. The second one gets harder, right? Because now you're like, this is it. I'd probably go with Steely Dan.
Love
Steely Dan.
Steely
Probably
Dan.
go with Steely Dan, but I'm really into Chet Baker right now.
Chet Baker's also very good.
But like, I don't know if I want to vibe out to that for 9 months, because that is such a vibe.
Yeah, that's a long way. It's a long time to carry the vibe.
Yeah. I'd go, probably Devendra Banhart and Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. Nice. Tyler, where are you at?
2 artists, 9 months. I'd probably go with Stan Rogers, a personal favorite of mine.
I don't know who that is.
He's a Canadian folk singer from like the 60s.
I want a starter pack from you.
Oh, I'll give you a starter pack. It's,
we need a group chat. I want you to throw it in the group chat.
Yeah.
We should just create a playlist with music from all of these artists and then link it in the video.
I have a playlist called Devendra's Starter Pack.
That's sick.
For when I recommend, because I know that people don't know, and I'm like, you're gonna want this.
This is what you want.
I want a Stan Rogers.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah,
because his
That's what I'm all
vibes,
about, baby.
his vibes carried me for like maybe 2 years, 3 years so far. So like,
that's longer than 9 months.
I'm like, what's 9 more months?
Yeah.
What's 9 more?
What's 9 more months? We could just kind of go through the catalog again. He's got a lot of music, so you can kind of just filter through it. And then second one, probably like Chopin. There's like a lifetime.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I love Chopin and like
Deep
the
memory.
Polonaise, like the style, the attacks that happen in it, I think are iconic. Like Chopin anytime you hear it.
Yeah.
I was watching something the other day and this guy was playing piano and he's like, was that Kanye West? He's like, try Chopin, like very pretentiously, and I was like, okay, dude.
All
What's the
right.
difference?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the difference,
Kanye,
baby?
Chopin.
Yeah, here's
Well,
the difference is Chopin was actually run out by Nazis, right?
And Kanye is a Nazi.
Is a Nazi.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay,
Oh,
Kanye. I said Kanye.
I think Kanye wasn't a Nazi. Ye is for sure a Nazi.
Correct.
100%.
That is-
He's an anti-Semitic.
Fun Chopin story.
Yep.
For anyone who doesn't know,
Frederick Chopin.
is we all married into the same family. Not Zach, but he is probably going to marry one of us, so it works.
Perfect.
We'll talk about the FLDS later.
Oh. Our wife's grandma is probably the best concert pianist I've ever heard in my lifetime.
True.
And when I first met her, I went over to the house, Hannah's house, my wife's house.
She already had a house when you first met her?
No, I was at her parents' house.
Okay.
And grandma's over.
That's why I married her.
She's sitting at the piano. Yeah, I was like, I need some assets. Grandma's at the piano, and we're all just sitting around her. And she goes, Grant, what's your favorite classical piece? Now, this woman, I don't think she's ever walked on the ground before. I think she just floats above it. And
She's really fast.
yeah, she's so fast. No, she's a brilliant lady. Wonderful. And I don't think she will taste the sting of death. I think that when her time is
Sweet
come, she'll
surrender?
just float into heaven.
Yep, it'll be sweet surrender. True.
Anyways, she was like, what's your favorite classical piece? And I said, it's a Chopin song. It's one of the nocturnes, the really famous one. And I'm like,
You didn't pick
I
the
think there's a
military
2 and a
Polonaise?
9.
It's 2.
It's Opus 2.
Opus 2,
9.
yep.
But I couldn't remember. I'm like, I think there's a 2 and a 9. And she goes, is it? And then goes into it and just starts playing this. And I was like,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that's the one.
I don't think I've. I've been married in the family the shortest amount of time. I haven't heard her play a whole lot.
She's old.
Dude.
I hate to break it to you, but that's probably a you thing.
Yeah,
no, I
and
know.
maybe-
I'm not saying it's.
Sam,
I
maybe
also,
she's like, Sam's here, putting my old
Yeah,
dusty
she's
fingers
like,
away.
yeah,
I also-
close it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might come to Utah at least too.
Well, I mean,
it's-
considering
Where are you
they live
from?
here,
Right, Oregon.
Oregon. Okay. And you're?
Texas.
We're just here
Tejas.
for the weekend.
Texas.
And what about you?
New York.
New York. Okay.
Where are you originally
Far
from?
reaches
Florida.
the country here.
Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We were like, beep.
Florida, Utah. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, how do we all
Like opposite ends of the country.
marry girls in Utah? How'd that happen?
I got lucky.
I got lucky, yeah.
Mine actually came to Oregon. So.
Where
Nice.
do you live in?
You
Where do you
got
live in
to
Oregon?
stay from
me.
DoorDash.
About 45 minutes outside of Portland. It's a small town called Sandy.
Like,
It's
what's
like
your
up the
address?
mountain.
Yeah. No, I wanted to know your. Yeah. Exactly. We'll
Oh,
get it
my
later.
address? Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know later.
All right.
I don't think you need to tell him, actually.
Yeah.
I think
You could probably
he'll
find out.
it out pretty quick.
I actually already have it.
I was gonna say,
I'll
don't tell
send
me
it
you
to you in
don't
the
already
group
know.
I'll
chat.
send it to you.
Don't tell me you don't already know.
I'll let you know.
All right.
Shows
what's-
up.
Oh, my two. Okay, so this is real life
Have
case.
you had to have two before?
I did. So what
Okay,
happened
I
is
thought this was your buddy.
no, it was me. My iPod broke, right? Or like went haywire, and so I had to reset it using his Apple iTunes, and then obviously we don't have internet connection and sang in Afghanistan. So what I chose, the only thing he had two discographies, which is wild that he would have these two on there. It was Notorious B.I.G. and Sublime.
Was this a local dude or was this?
Fantastic.
No, it was not a local guy. It was another buddy of mine. I don't think that they know who
I was
Biggie
gonna
is.
say.
And if they know who, Bradley Knowles is, like, I'd be very impressed,
Was Notorious killed?
Yeah. Gang violence got the best of them.
That's I'm sure there are many a podcast about that.
Same guy that got
Sure.
Tupac, probably.
Yeah.
No. I
Did
think
you hear about
they found the guy.
The Diddy stuff? Well, obviously we all heard about the Diddy stuff, but because of that, so much has come out about Tupac's assassination.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he know stuff about that?
I mean,
I was actually listening to
Come
Tupac
on.
on the way here.
yeah.
I was playing.
song?
So I was going through the All Eyes on Me
Oh,
album. So I started with Can't See Me,
Yeah.
and then it went to Shorty Wanna Be a Thug,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did Ambitions as a Rider, which I think is tough, very tough. And my truck I've got 310s in the back of my truck,
Cool.
because I'm a child,
Yeah.
So it
Clearly.
just rips.
yeah.
literally rips, and that was the first album I ever got.
Fantastic.
My older sister took me to a music store. And actually, the first album I ever got was 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. My parents bought it for me. And they bought me the clean version.
Yeah.
And then after that, but the first one I went and bought with my older sister, she was 5 years older than me, was All Eyes on Me.
So cool.
So, like, that was
How did that?
And I grew up, so I'm from Florida, but I grew up in Indianapolis. And my stepfather is like Waylon, Willie, Johnny kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I can.
Chris Christopherson. Now we've named all the highwaymen.
Yeah, exactly. We did it.
Paid respects.
Yeah, paid respect. Respect.
Yeah.
What do the Catholics do?
Yeah.
Up,
Something
down,
like
left,
that.
right.
Something
Is it
like that.
spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch? Isn't that what
I've never heard it that way before.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this way.
I'm making sure they don't want to forget it
Watching
at
the
home.
wallet.
I was gonna say
They're
you
watching
you grew up Catholic, not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
grow up. What? That's a
a stretch.
overstatement.
Yeah,
but
he
Okay.
said it was,
but like generally,
We know you people from Indianapolis.
Yeah, you
and your
Catholic.
tendencies.
My neighbors are actually LDS, and I thought they were the nicest people. Like my introduction to the church was with my neighbors, and I just thought they were like the nicest people in the world.
Yeah.
But they're not.
No, they are. They still
Yeah.
no, they are. They actually
It's
are.
coming.
And then I married my wife. Grew up LDS, and we were talking about it on the way here. She left the church when she was 19. There was some, I'd call it predation at her ward, and so it just turned her away from it. And fair enough,
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
that's fair enough. Anybody,
Very unfortunate.
and that happens in every single culture. It's not and in fact, I would argue probably.
About that.
Less often than not, it happens at the LDS church because there's so many eyes on what's happening at all levels.
Right.
But
Unfortunately,
it did
it's not
happen there.
always Stopped, and unfortunately, it's not always treated in what I think would be the correct way.
It's honestly a really difficult thing to take care of because you can't predict that it's ever going to happen.
Correct, and the tenets that the members live by are the code, right? That is so high. I think is. Did you dab?
Yeah, you know me.
Oh, I'm learning.
Yeah.
But anyways, long story
More
short,
than I'd
knows.
like you to know.
He already knows.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, long story short, she grew up in the church, and so when we came from Wyoming to Utah, I was like, so everyone here is Mormon, and she's like, just say like LDS. And I was like, okay, and I'm like, why does this guy keep asking me about the church? What's the church? And she's like, there's only one church.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Capital C, baby.
Yep,
The
church.
church.
It is, yeah.
Every block.
And then she was like, all right, so these are some questions you don't. These are things you don't do. These are things you don't say. And this is how it goes. And so I had to learn. And it was out of respect, because I
Right.
told her, I was like, look, I don't want to come into these people's homes and be an a-hole or, act like a jackass.
When
Like,
in Rome.
exactly, like do as the Romans. And I think that, honestly, I love the culture here in Utah. I think that there are parts of the LDS. We're obviously not part of it as non-members. Sure. We don't see the extremist side on a lot of things because we're not already there. Right. So these people see my tattoos and, they're immediately like, okay, you're probably not part of the church.
Which is really funny because in Texas, my bishop was pretty stoked when I got my tattoos.
Really?
He's like, let me see them. That's so sick.
Yeah, I just think that here they're like, okay. But my wife looks like the quintessential LDS woman, would you not say?
We've already established she's naturally very blonde.
Yeah. She does have hair. And it is blonde.
Has hair.
And she has light eyes.
And apparently it's a little... Chinese. It was a little ugly for a minute.
Yeah, a little ugly. When this comes out, I hope her friend group that
did it.
Yeah, I hope that they see it.
Well, as a great philosopher once said, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
It's so
to be honest, that woman that made the mistake honestly has so many other things going on in her life, and I think that we give everybody a little grace. Mm-hmm. But
John Rosenberg. That guy I was talking about is the most interesting. I can't remember what was said, but my wife was asking him something. We know him. That's not important.
Yep.
But
could be important.
Do you know what the Camino de Santiago is?
Okay.
St. James Way.
Yeah.
It's this 500-mile pilgrimage in Spain that they've been walking it since the 800s. Incredible. Talk about Catholic. My wife and I got to walk it in 2019.
Cool. 500 miles.
Incredible. 500 miles. It was amazing.
You walked 500 miles?
Yes. And I would walk 500 more.
Just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles.
Man,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Anyways, it was amazing.
Yeah, cool.
I am going to write that song. It's going to be about like waking up and wanting to be the man in love with my wife or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like it won't hit
No, it's about
I
walking?
like a Scottish accent.
Right.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to be a hit, honestly.
Yeah.
Kind of seems past its time.
I think, you know what? If you don't believe, you don't believe. Okay? I believe in me. Here's the deal.
You're an artist.
John Rosenberg was the one that set this up. We got to do it as a study abroad. And he set it up, and he loved Spain, and he walked it with us. And so anyways, that's that connection. And he was talking about give yourself a larger margin of error, is what he said. We all need grace, especially from ourselves.
True.
So he was like,
nobody's harder on you than you.
yeah. And he said, give everyone a larger margin of error, including yourself.
Yeah, I'm all about it. I think that I don't believe in what I did. You should be afforded margins of error, because I think when people's lives depend on it, you don't get. And I don't believe in your career field that you should get a margin of error.
No, yeah.
I don't think anybody's.
But generally, I think that it's okay to fail to learn. But like, imagine, people talk about, like, you're talking about selection, right? You want to know about it. Well, the truth is like, I don't believe you should get a second try. And SOCOM, Special Operations Command, doesn't either. Right? So we have these soft truths, which are Special Operation Forces soft truths, right? Truths about what we believe. We believe that special operations cannot be mass produced. You know what I mean? Like it's intrinsic to who you are, like if you're able to do it. And I think it is very important to get it right the first time.
A decision is a decision, whether it was a mistake or not.
Correct. And how you move through those decisions makes you a professional.
Right.
Yeah.
So an amateur makes decisions and then reacts whichever way their emotions carry them. A professional has training and they will guide them through those decisions that are made. I had a guy one time shot GSW. He was on top of a HESCO shooting back, and it went into his jaw and then into his chest, and he fell like 9 feet down and like hit the ground. So a lot of trauma to this guy.
Yeah.
And our doc was treating someone else, and so he's like, "Hey, dude, can you go like look at this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I like run over. We did not realize what it was until triage the patient. So I'm like looking at him, like, "Oh, okay." So no OPA is going in, right? No NPA. And OP is an oral pharyngeal airway. NPA, nasal pharyngeal airway. It's an artificial airway that you'd create. So you have the March algorithm, right? Massive bleeding, airway, respiratory, all this stuff. And so I need to establish an airway. He's got to breathe. So I immediately am like, I've got to crack this guy. And he's like, yeah, dude, do it. And so I like grab this Benchmade knife, right? Benchmade's got a little butterfly on it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
And I grab this knife and like put it in his throat. And I can't like it takes a lot of force to break through the trachea. So you've got to like push kind of hard. And he comes up behind me and he like shoves my shoulder. He goes, he's like, all right, now put it in. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we established an airway. And so now he's breathing. But I'm noticed like uneven rise and fall of the chest, right? Which to me tells me, oh, he's got like the bullet went in there.
Punctured
And
lung
collapsed lung type
or
of thing?
like
either a punctured lung or he's got air in his pleural space. So imagine inside your pleural space in your chest cavity.
what's
there's
pleural space?
It's the space inside of your.
Outside of the lungs in
Yep.
the chest?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just
Oh,
that
okay.
space,
Okay.
that area, the no man's land.
Oh.
Anyways, it's a vacuum. So the way
Okay.
your lungs work is your diaphragm sits like here. Your diaphragm pulls down,
Okay.
and then that inflates the lungs, right? And when your diaphragm goes back in, that deflates the lungs.
Pushes it out. Okay.
So imagine if there's a hole. When your diaphragm pulls, the lungs can't inflate and deflate.
Oh, yeah.
It'll just pull air in from the
Pull
hole
air in from the
instead.
hole. So
Gotcha.
you've got to plug the hole, right? So I saw the hole. I plugged the hole, put like a dressing on it. They call them an occlusive dressing.
Yeah.
We used, right? So it's a plastic dressing
It's
that
just-
it allows air one way in or one way out and not in. So that way the air can't come in. But if it needs to exit, it can. And then we, but he was still breathing funny, and I was like, oh, I remember this from training. Like he's got a tension pneumothorax, which means that like there's still more. Like we need to relieve the
air
pressure
that's
that's
in
inside
there.
there. Yep, we need to let it out because this dressing isn't doing a good job.
You decompress them?
Yeah, so I needle D him. So in between the second and third mid-clavicular, you're going to take this large needle and you're going to stab it inside. So when you do it, you should hear a hissing noise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a little hissing and I was like, oh, that's good. But now he's starting to freak out. I realized I just induced a tension pneumothorax because I introduced air into it. He had a pneumothorax, which means blood pooled in the pleural space, so you have to stick him lower to allow the blood to drain out. I didn't know this. So this poor guy, I'm like playing doctor on him.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's try this one.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And he's like freaking out, right? He's
Yeah.
got this tube in his throat, and you
Yeah.
know. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah, that was like you don't get second like
Yeah.
people die, and so I think like in general we should give people grace. In your profession, I don't believe you or deserve the same amount of grace.
I agree.
That's why I like it, because it reminds me of time in the military.
Yeah. You're in the military as well?
Yeah, I
What'd you do?
I went through the SEER instructor pipeline,
Okay, cool.
But,
Were you in the Army, Navy, Air Force?
Air Force.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, actually, one of my best friends, Dave Bickle, Dill, he's not one of my best friends. He's a friend of mine, but he's a very good guy. That's what I mean to say, a very good guy. He's TAC P, SOCOM, TAC P,
I was
did all that.
I was there in the same station.
Yep.
Like slice of Joint Base San Antonio.
Okay.
Like I was in the same slice with the TAC Ps, and I
Did you feel special?
Oh, it was really fun. It was really fun to watch them do the thing because there's this mile long dirt path that they
Yeah.
go down, and they're doing turtle crawls down it, and that like
Could you show us?
yeah, right. They have the
Show us what that means.
yeah, it means they got the rucksack on their back and they have to
They're
crawl on
crawling,
all
yeah.
fours.
Yeah,
They
they're
got
low crawling.
Bear,
we didn't ask
bear
you
crawl,
to tell
low
us.
crawl.
We asked you to show.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll get Boomer. I'll put him on my back.
What do you want?
Red Bull, please.
But
Anybody else want a Red Bull?
I just drank a Monster. I didn't know we had
dude,
those.
I
Should you?
yeah.
Yeah, you here.
Should you?
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
but
they're on the
my-
dirt track.
My favorite memory was looking over, and there's this kind of hurdle thing where it's a bunch of wood boards, and it's about 5 feet high, and
Big hurdles.
yeah,
It's a big hurdle.
yeah,
Life hurdles.
the sergeant's got him up doing a headstand like against it, and he's crying, and the sergeant's yelling at him. He's like, because he probably messed up or something like that. He's just screaming at him, and he's he's all red and sweaty, and I'm like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. That looks like I
have a crazy
I
story.
like the way he's crying.
I have a crazy.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
So when I was going through our school, the school for intelligence operators is called. So we're tier 1 SOF operators, right? So we go through our assessment selection, and we're going through this course called MDIOC, which is a multidisciplinary intelligence operators
I love all
course.
Of these acronyms.
Yeah, the military is really good about
Big acronyms.
And so it's like August in North Carolina, so 1,000% humidity.
Oh, yeah.
It's 4 a.m., so it's probably like 95 degrees already. And we're doing a 12-mile ruck run for time.
So
and
New Zealand.
and you have ruck, weapon, camis, boots, everything on.
How heavy is all your
Did
gear?
you have
water.
plates in the bag? What was
Yeah.
in the bag?
So you have to. They made you carry a pig egg, right? Which is essentially you grab a sandbag or a plastic bag, and you fill it with dirt. And then you wrap it with duct tape, and this is your pig egg, and you carry it everywhere, and it sucks. And it has to weigh at least 45 pounds, but really, you go weigh them. They make you weigh them, and if they're like not 47 to 50 pounds, then they're like, make another one.
Yeah.
Make another one. So there's a whole pile of like bad pig eggs that are actually good, you know,
But they're not.
but they're not good.
You gotta
Close to
you gotta
50,
walk
yeah.
the line between how heavy how do you want to fly under the radar, or do you want them to think you're weak?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
So I'm like rucking, and I'm very good at the rucks, and I'm gonna toot my own horn, and all my boys out there know like I'm extremely good at it. So I averaged like 9 minutes a mile for the 12 miles.
How heavy was all that stuff?
So
I can't even do that in just running shorts.
Yep. So and that's like full gear. So the rifle weighs like 8 pounds. The camis probably weigh 7 pounds, whatever. Okay.
That's stock. That's bare bones.
Okay.
Probably.
This guy knows.
Seven, right?
pounds.
Is that?
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about guns. I've never held one. But no, I'm just messing with you.
Let's just say your Instagram would say otherwise.
Yeah. Actually, my Instagram's pretty toned down.
It is.
You get to choose to be a soft guy when you leave, or I had to let that part of my life go. So like I'm a regular guy. I do know all about guns. We can talk about it, but I don't live in that world anymore. So I kind of let it go. But that being said, so I had 7 pounds for the gun, 3 liters of water, which is just shy of a gallon, so probably 7 pounds of water, plus everything else.
Now he's just saying 7 pounds. For
Like,
You said 7 pounds.
Well, it's 8 pounds
You
per
know
gallon.
more than I do. I was just making a guess.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Now he's like, I guess it's 7 pounds.
No. He's
His buddy over here.
He's like
wants
7.
to-
He's like
he knows everything.
He's like 7.8 pounds
Yeah.
at 637.
Yeah.
We're oddly specific on this podcast, and I think that's important. No, man. I think it was 7 or 8 pounds, and but it sucked. So when you add it all up, maybe we'll say 45 pounds plus another 5 pounds for the ruck, 50 pounds plus another 14. You're at like 65 plus your camis.
That's it.
You're probably at like 70 pounds worth of stuff. And I'm running, and it's like 3 a.m. and this van pulls up with the cadre, the instructor, and he pulls up, and his name is Jake Sonneborn, and if he's watching this, he lives and exists in a very spooky part of the world, so he'll be pissed that I said his name. But anyways, Jake, shout out to you, man. He like pulls over, and he like gets out, and he's like, dude, we get it. You think you're special. And I was like, huh? He like stops me. Like we're in the middle of this timed run. And it's like starting to rain a little bit, and like very early in the morning, he was like, sit down. So me, like my dog, I just sit, and I'm like looking, like, okay. And he's like, you're never going to make it. We don't need people like you. We don't care how fast you think you are, how tough you think you are, any of this stuff. Dude, you just don't have what it takes, and I can see that in you. And just know I'm rooting for you to fail.
Sounds like my dad.
Right? Yeah.
Just kidding.
Dad? Literally, like, that's why I wanted to be like, Dad, is that you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird. You're in Florida just a little while ago. And anyways, so he like drives away, and I have a little cry, but it's raining, so like no one was around me. I'm literally like a mile ahead of. I'm about to finish. Yeah, I'm about to finish. So I'm probably at mile like 10 or 11, and I have like a little cry, and get back up and go run.
It's like they say on Bluey.
What do they say on Bluey?
You have a cry. You pick yourself up. You dust yourself off. And you keep on going.
Do we think Bluey could have made it in special operations?
Oh, definitely.
Do you
Yeah.
think?
At
Would
least
you say?
Chili, the
Would you
mom.
say the show Bluey got you through it?
I wouldn't say that, but I think now we could go
spirit of
back and make a
Bluey.
case for it.
Yeah.
The spirit of Bluey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than those two artists, he had Bluey.
Yeah, I did have
It's
Bluey
like-
on my shoulder.
This is my holy trinity. Okay, Biggie
On
Smalls,
repeat.
Sublime.
Sublime, Bluey,
That's what does it for me.
100%.
No, so like and you know what else is funny is like when you're going through like your selection and all this stuff, you can be dropped at any point in time. Like for any reason, you can pass everything. I won all the ruck runs. I finished first or second every fin or swim that we had.
They're just like, we don't like you.
And then they can drop you. So at
He was mad at you for being fast.
no, I think he just was trying to like get into my
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to
go and see if someone has an indomitable spirit is what we look for.
Yeah.
Because you were ahead of everyone.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
Just trying to break him.
that's a
Yeah,
perfect
no,
opportunity. That's when you're
it's really
leaving.
important.
That's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Think of where my
Obviously,
ego
the
was.
physical wasn't hurting.
Oh, you were probably thinking, dude, I'm the man.
I'm the man.
Yeah.
And then he just got in my head and like I had to finish.
I'm
Yeah.
rooting for you to fail. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually fought. Oh man, we should edit out his name. Bleep it out. He actually fought a student.
Really?
Yeah, going through.
Nice.
Like during a ruck run, we started running, and I take off in pretty much a sprint, and then try to stay sprinting the whole time. Well, like a sprint, right? Not
Right.
really.
This
Yeah, the
this
waddle.
number.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would have calluses on my thumbs from where the rifle, because I hold it in the same spot.
My
every
dad
time.
got those from milking cows.
He did.
Sucking.
Yeah, he didn't suck the cow. Weird.
How do you?
We
guys
make different
build
choices.
Put
Cows.
this over there.
Yeah, we can.
We all get calluses for different reasons.
Calluses.
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 Cow
Cow
whistles.
whistles.
If it comes from the cow.
Milking cows. I thought it was good. That's
Anyway,
good.
so I get through this
Uh-huh.
like arduous process, right?
Yes.
And we're about to graduate. We just get done with like our like culmination exercise, right? And I tell the cadre, I was like, hey, I need to get a visitor request for my wife to come on. So MARSOC is on a Marine Corps base, but it's on its own compound, and not anybody can go in there. You have to be part of MARSOC to even go in.
I was telling Sam, I really like the idea of all of the Marines there doing a 50s themed dance and calling it a MARSOC hop.
That'd be cool.
Anyways, keep going.
That'd be MARSOC hop.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could make that happen. We could do it.
I think we know enough Marines.
Yeah, we could make that happen. I
Yeah.
know a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
I'll get my brother to call all his old.
It turns out like half the Marine Corps shows up.
Yeah, they're like the
Go
sub-
sick.
A really small group of autistic men with guns, you know? So anyways, so I was like, hey, I need a visitor badge request for my wife. And he was like, why? I'm like, well, we're graduating tomorrow. And he's like, you're not walking with everyone. I'm like, okay. I'm just thinking he's fucking with me. He's like, no, I'm being dead serious. You're not walking with everyone. If you want your wife to be there for that, that's on you. And I was like, okay, great. And mind you, this guy gave me a quote during our FinX. He was like, hard living makes a hard man. And I was like, he was sleeping in a tent, so the cadre could sleep in like these little like cubicles or Connex boxes. I mean, that's not cubicles. Connex
The
boxes.
pop-up boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
He's, like,
slept
just,
in a
like,
tent,
office desk.
and it's like freezing cold, and he slept in a tent, and I'm like, okay, that guy is intense.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you sleep in a tent? He said, hard living makes a hard man. I'm like, respect. Anyways, he tells me like, your wife can come, but you're gonna get embarrassed. So I naturally put in the visitor request anyways. And we're graduating, and I'm standing there with all my ribbons and stuff, and all proud, whatever. And they're calling everybody's name. My last name's Vaughn, so I was like, "Oh, Vaughn's at the end." But they called like a few W names,
Hold on.
and I was
Like,
like, "Wait a
I
second."
know you guys are dumb, but
Yeah, not that. Yeah, like, come on, you can like line up crayons alphabetically, like.
yeah, exactly.
And so they get through it, and they call everyone's name. And I was like, not called. I'm like, oh my god, this is really happening. Like right here in front of everyone, I'm dropped. And he says, and then they go into this award called the Eric Christensen Award, and it's unanimously voted upon by all the cadre. And he was like, honor graduate of this class is Zachary Vaughn. And so I walked by myself. I didn't walk with the rest of the class.
Dude, that's sick.
So
I smelled that wordplay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that-
And so it was kind of cool, but it was one, you don't know how you're performing. You have no idea.
Eric Christensen.
Eric Christensen?
Oh, I think they said Eric Christensen. I was like, is this like if Michael Jordan had been Danish? Yeah.
He would be Eric
Eric
Christensen.
Christensen.
In the sear pipeline, they they kind of tell you how you're doing. They give you an illusion of how you're doing.
Okay, explain.
Yeah, they give you a point system. So with sear, it's kind of 50-50 as far as physical and tasks go.
Okay.
They're huge on tasks. They love giving you like an essay to do, and they from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next day when you have to go to the schoolhouse, they give you more than 12 hours of tasks, so that you kind of have to fail one of them probably. And so the idea is that they give you this large workload, and then if you fail more than 2 of your tasks that day, if you come in the morning and they check all your tasks and 2 of them are not satisfactory, you're dropped automatically.
Okay.
And they'll call you into a room at the end of that day, and that's it. But I know.
So you go through the whole day?
Oh yeah, you go through the whole day knowing that like you're done for, and you are done for, but whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they hold you for the entire day, just in case they're not actually
and their
feeling
big,
it.
strong arms.
They hold you real close. Just in case they're not feeling it, because there's there's always situations.
Discussion.
There's always like a little discussion. Because I'd say like, the one time out of 50, you come back out of the reaping room and and they give you a second chance.
I think there's a time and place for that, but I just think in the selection there's no position for it. I think absolutely like a fail is a fail. It's a demerit, and I think like because of, and this isn't to, I don't want to hijack your story, but I really believe that at the level at which we operate, we need to know that we can count on these people even on their worst day.
Of course.
You're never going to get to go operate on your best day.
Yeah.
Everything's not going to be good. Your family life isn't going to be perfect. You're not going to have all the sleep. Your kids aren't going to be healthy. Your dad won't be healthy. Like whatever life thing that's going on, whatever thing is in the back of your mind that might have just thrown you off that day. Maybe you just found out somebody has cancer or whatever, and you needed a few hours to yourself.
You're supposed to be thrown off.
Yeah, it's like during that phase of your life, like you either make it or you don't. I have this tattoo that says sink or swim, and I really believe like you will either make it or you won't. And if you don't, there is no disrespect. I think so many people won't even go try because they're afraid to fail. And like that to me is the ultimate cowardice, is someone who talks about and never even tried it. And it's like, you know what, at least the guy that failed, he who dares wins. Like you didn't even try. So like how can you even be in the conversation? So I think the guys that tried and failed, a lot of respect to, and a lot of compassion for like whatever that happened that day, that moment that caused them to fail. But I would love to operate with them in different capacities, but like on the teams and where you need to be at, I just don't think there's a place.
Yeah, I think Yoda would disagree. I don't think Yoda thought trying was an option.
There is no try.
You either do or do not.
Yeah.
I think you'd say it differently.
Yeah.
He potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in a little bit of a different order, but
yeah, go continue.
Yeah, no. My class was pretty interesting when they brought us in the first day. There's a big, and this is public information. There's a big line of class flags that they have, and then there's one flag that's blank. Because every class gets to decorate their flag. So one flag is blank, and they're like, and they pointed it out to us, and they're like, you may notice. And they said,
"Yeah, I've been to summer camp.
Yeah,
they know how this works."
They
So I saw a blank flag and I knew.
I was like, damn, this is summer. You get to decorate a flag?
Yeah.
I joined the wrong force for sure.
Yeah, no, we get to decorate a flag. It's fun. But man, the decoration they chose for my class was stupid.
Was it?
Yeah. They pointed a blank one and they said, hey, you know, we'll drop all of you, you know, like because we have, you know, and my class was, you know, 34, and anyways they said we'll fail all of you, and my class was like 34 guys, and by the end of it, on the last day there were 4 of us. Typically there's only like a 50% washout, so there's like, you know, 15 that graduate. And there were 4 by the last day for our class, and they only graduated 1, who was a previous retrain because he was injured.
Wow.
Yeah. And
The yellow flag was not good.
yeah, no. Shout out Sergeant Harrison. But it was a final day.
Yeah.
Obviously big project day. They leave you out in the woods and you got to do all like some big long list of tasks. And I didn't make a list. And,
So you forgot some tasks?
Well, you know, and
Were they giving you like Kim's games to do along with it or something? Or it's just a tactical mind. It's just a
like a challenge. Like
Yep.
a test type thing.
No, it was all. The main idea behind selection was, can you look at something, like be handed something and say, hey, check this out, and then they take it away, and can you reproduce that? So it was with shelter building, with knots, with planning, with really
knots are tough.
yeah, they were huge on knots here, and so.
They're big knot guys.
Yeah, they're big knot guys.
They're big knot
Obviously
guys.
didn't ever win the knot off at camp.
Camp Flat,
Yeah, and
Yo, shout out to that troop. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm happy to do it, and I do it again.
You know what I tell people when they say thank you for your service? I don't really say this, but I always want to. I'm going to be like, you're worth it.
Oh no!
But instead,
We just started making out.
but I, you know what I always say? No, thank you. I had the coolest job in the world. That's what I tell people.
Nice.
Because I really did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had a long list.
So-
Oh yeah,
But you didn't.
long list, and I wasn't able to. Well, I didn't get all my tools laid out in time in the front and center, and so you know they showed up like when I wasn't done.
Yeah. How did that feel? What was going through? If you want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it.
Oh no, well
There's
so
clearances right here.
yeah, right. What
I have a service dog.
they gave us parts of an MRE for the day, which was like halfway through the day I was kind of feeling it, and I had the blueberry cream. There's like
I don't know.
like it's like a blueberry oatmeal type thing, and it was really awesome.
Oh, the milkshake or whatever that they have.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. I know exactly. Yeah, it's got the dehydrated blueberries in it.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Very good, very tasty. And
I didn't know they had I didn't know the Air Force had MREs.
yeah,
I thought you guys all had like private chefs or something.
Yeah, dude, Air Force, baby.
I mean, basically, dude.
They came to my
DFAC
hotel room,
Yeah.
and I didn't have my list ready.
The DFAC was nice.
No.
The DFAC was nice. It's
Honestly,
always nice.
if I'm being very honest, I might project a little here. I'm jealous because we got the Marine Corps was like, let's do the most with the least, and I'm like, we should not be proud of that. That's what if we just did the most with the most? That would be cool too.
Yeah.
I hate
Like-
to say it, but when you said the thing about like hard living makes a hard man, I'm like, while that is true, it's kind of unnecessary.
Very unnecessary.
You know, you can also be a very capable man, mentally prepared for anything, and not.
Have to
Yeah.
Sleep.
hate your life.
You don't have to. You don't have to live in hardship perpetually. Yeah.
Our community believes, and so there are things called when MARSOC was created in 2006. What they did is they took a bunch of recon guys, right, force recon guys, and all kinds of snipers, recons, JTACs, and they created the difference between Recon and MARSOC is that Recon is a division asset owned by a conventional general. MARSOC is a SOCOM asset by Special Operations Command, so it gets a whole different funding line of money, and it is actual SOCOM asset. So we are actual Special Operations, where Recon is Special Operations capable, and I'm not taking anything away from Recon. A ton of people I know are Recon. It's one of the schools I wish I would have gone to is BRC, because it's a true test of like your ability, your fortitude. Can everyone smell his breath? He's got killer breath. Sorry.
Nice.
No, you're good.
My wife makes
I'm
fun of me though, because my dog. We were talking about like,
Yeah.
I'm not a dog person. I've learned that. I'm a my dog person.
Yep.
And we're in the car. He'll put his little head over my shoulder from the back seat.
He does that.
And
Yeah.
he goes like this. And it's so stinky, but it's like his stink.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told my wife, like, I kind of like it. She's like,
He's
yeah,
got
it's
to stop.
disgusting. I
He
hate
was
it.
just in Wyoming, so he might have something in his
He's
paw.
got a burr in there.
Yeah, he's got something. But anyways, long
Anyway,
story short,
yeah, sorry.
I think that all these old reconnaissaurances is what we call them, like the old guys. They believe like suffering first. So one of my team chiefs made us go to the pool one morning, and we're like literally swimming, right, treading water, and he's just making us hold bricks while he just hoses it. Like we've already made it. We're on the
Yeah.
teams,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's just hosing us in the face.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, why are we doing this?
Oh, you're thirsty.
Yeah, and he's just like, or like we're in a house, right, shooting, and we have these like bays that we can like make different rooms and stuff like that, and we can create op4 and stuff like that. We grab the infantry marines and put them out there and make them go one-on-one. Like when you enter a room and someone is waiting for you, it's a pretty intense like seconds of your life, and then when you're entering a lot of rooms, it's like intense minutes that feel like hours of your life. We were pulling some shots, and my team chief was like, this is shout out to Billy Birch, Silver Star recipient. He
What a name.
yeah, Billy Birch,
That's
William
a
Birch.
great name.
Yep. Oh, wow, Bill Birch. Anyways, he made us carry. They were doing some construction, and there was a bunch of plywood boards, and they're like what 4x8 or 4x7. I don't know how big they are, but they're huge. And we had to hold. We're in full kit, weapons slung, obviously cold, not hot guns, and we're literally running around like miles, sprinting with these over our head, full kit. Like already made it, bunch of special operators running
for
around,
fun. Just
and
for
then he
some
comes back.
enjoyment.
He's like, "If you pull another shot, you're off this team." After you just ran around in the rain in North Carolina, and then it's like, we used to have this billboard when you drive down 17 in North Carolina to go to the MARSOC base, Stone Bay. There's a billboard, and it used to say "Earn it every day," and like no matter who you were, where you were, like you had to earn it. It wasn't gonna be given to you. It wasn't just gonna be handed to you, and like nobody cared about what you did yesterday. You're as good as the last thing you did.
Isn't it a miracle like that? you feel totally spent, and then Cadre says get up, and all of a sudden you're up, and it's like, man, how did I get here?
Risen, you know.
Yeah.
I think that they're, like I said, special operations is not about giving 110%. It's about finding that seventh gear inside you because you thought you were 6-speed, and being like, I always had that gear. It was something inside of me, like innate, and I just need to achieve it. And so when it comes to that, I think that, like, I'm so proud. I felt like I always tell people I walked on the shoulders of giants. Like operating. So I was over at, you were in the military, so I was over at JSOC. And for camera, obviously we can't explain more than that. But like, so I was at the Joint Task Force. I worked capture kill on a strike force there. So very proud of what I got to do. Very, very, very few humans get to even see what that is, and even less get to actually do it. So like, I'm extremely proud to have served in that capacity and provided support and been on the teams and doing that. Boomer, sit. Sorry,
I was curious on what did you feel during your time in SEER school, the C course, because everyone comes out with a little bit different feelings,
it
experiences.
was honestly like, It was so.
Was it just
I
another
don't mean to be
thing,
rude,
or-
but I think it was so easy. It was the easiest part of our training pipeline. So I was like, thank God. Like, or no, I was scared to go back into the other parts we had to do. So I was like, oh no, like Sears over. So we keep this mentality of like you can't stop time. Like the clock will always keep ticking, and like the day will end, which may or may not be a good thing. But like the day will end, and so it's one of those things where I thought SEER school was a lot of fun, but like urban SEER was not fun, because I would like drive down to the buildings that we were being beat up in, and I'd be like, oh God, like, remember, I have a funny story. So they're called labs, and we can't talk a lot about it, but
Right.
I'll talk generally about the labs, right? And if I go over, you know more than I do, you can tell me to stop. But so we're doing these labs, and the labs are where you get introduced to getting smacked, right?
Oh, this is like interrogation stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so like, and it's all regulated by the JPRA.
Yeah.
So JPRA, Joint Personnel Recovery Agency, right? Whatever.
yeah.
Like they regulate this. And so there's specific things they have to do. Like you have a towel, they put a towel, they do all this stuff, and like that's how you know it's coming. And then they have to apply so much force. This girl gets smacked, and this guy loses his mind. And they walk over there and smack him so hard, his knees buckle, and he collapses to the floor.
Get knocked out?
Oh, dude, straight out. But because you're not supposed to move, and he moved his face, and like where they hit you, if you move your chin, it's
out.
lights out. And he was so intense, and he like moved his. Shout out to Alex, you know who you are, buddy. Love you, man. That was still baller, and watching your knees buckle, and doing the top 10 things I've ever seen in my life.
That slapping game.
Oh yeah. Dana White does that slap
box.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I've been watching that a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't think it's gonna beat UFC, but like.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll beat UFC, but it's crazy how well it's doing.
What a concept! I love. Have y'all seen Idiocracy?
We should-
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do
Remember
it.
just that on TV?
Just kidding. I'm passed
love
out on
that
the floor.
concept.
Alex is like, got you back, dude. Got you back. So
Yeah.
good.
It's got what plants need.
Yeah, that's what the plants crave, baby.
It's what the
Electric
plans
lights.
could. Sam, are you? Is Sam the gun guy? If I
like
had
guns.
to choose, because you live in. Well, I figured it was either you're a Grant because Texas, Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of? What's your EDC?
Erectile
Right now I have a
dysfunction.
Canic.
Say again.
A Canic? That's what I
A
got.
Canic?
Right now.
Yeah. Love the Canics. Turkish made, fantastic.
They're kind of popping off. They're fun.
They're you have their 9mm.
Yeah.
They're double stack 9mm.
I have the TTI.
TTI. Is that a double stack 9mm?
Yeah, it's double stacks, 9mm. I think that one was like it was the collab with Canic and Terran Tactical,
Okay.
and they did one and they released it, and I love that thing. It's a full-size pistol. I do carry it. I'm not carrying it right now because I flew in here and I don't want
Yep.
to worry about all that. But
We just knew you'd be
yeah,
around.
no, dude, I love that gun. It's fun. I've kind of honestly thought about maybe getting into competition a little bit.
Yeah.
Bit. Not
Like 3-gun? Run in 3-gun?
I don't know
Or
about-
USPA?
Yeah, maybe.
PSA
maybe.
or whatever.
I haven't done any matches or anything like that, but I've just been. I don't know. I love guns, and I want to do something more than just mag dump into trash.
Yeah, I think people ask me. People have asked me,
Shoot old
and
computers.
they'll be like, "Oh, can you teach me how to clear a room?" I'm like, "Well, one, I'm not that guy, but like, yeah, I mean, I guess theoretically, yes, I can."
Like
but,
this.
Yeah, but they're like, "What if someone comes in my house? What do I do?" I'm like, "You ever heard of a strong point?" But
Yeah.
I'm like, mitigate all factors you can. Like, hold a position on a door in the farthest corner in the farthest highest tower of your house with your family, and then all you have to do is shoot anything that comes through that door. It's really easy. You don't want to run through your. I can never imagine running through my house and clearing my house.
Yeah,
Like-
who's that old super old guy? He's one of these like Spec Ops influencers.
John McPhee.
That's right.
I love
And
you do that. I was
he
like influencers,
that's exactly what.
That's a scary dude.
That's
And I know people that know John, and they're like, because I worked over in those kinds of units,
Yeah.
so I got to like meet with. That guy is a scary man.
yeah.
He does not. He doesn't really mince words or mess around.
But yeah, no, he says
think
the same exact thing. Just like put him in a funnel.
Yeah, like obviously, guns are really cool, and honestly, the amount that we used to shoot and the amount, like, it would cost me. I did the math. It cost me like $20,000 a year, 20 to 30 grand a year to shoot what I used to shoot.
Yeah.
Like even almost a fraction of what I used to shoot before. So I recently took this job for a app company selling to the DoD. So I was at Soft Week. I was at Nellis last week, or down there. So it's all or ISOF Range Week or whatever it is. So there's all kinds of special forces guys there, British SAS, Australian SAS, just everyone from the community. And you go and you just shoot and do this stuff, and it's like you get to the line, and I haven't shot in a few years. I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a cook. And they're like, oh, bing, 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 press hook, like look, and they're like, oh man, like. I'm a really good cook.
Yeah.
Really good at it. Yeah, cooked a lot.
Yeah.
But it is a perishable skill. I don't believe I'm that person anymore. I retired in 22.
Yeah.
And I haven't killed anybody since 2019. So like it's been a while, and I think that the mechanics of how to use pistols and how to use weapons, they're ingrained, right? Like I understand all of those things, but I need to sit and drill. I mean, back in the day, I used to sit in front of the mirror and like practice my draws and stuff like that, just to be at a level on the team that I can like shoot. Right. Because some of these guys, our team chief would be like cold qual, mod qual. So a mod qual is like a qualification that you have to pass in order to go inside houses. And cold qual means like you're not getting any warm up. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. we're in the range and you have to pass. So like I said, the standard always goes on.
Right.
And me being a primarily intelligence operator, I'm not shooting every day, right? I'm shooting a lot, but I'm not shooting every day. That is not my primary goal. Like if I'm in the stack, I'm in the back of it, very, very back, right? Or I'm with Charlie Element with the skipper, and the JTAC calling in airstrikes. So, but in order to go in the house and practice, you got to pass this, and like you get dropped right there. And so you just had to be on point. And I think the level, and then when you go to the other units and you see them operate, and you realize like, wow, the amount of money and time that we spend, like those guys are no joke. Those guys are shooting for Team Glock, Team Christensen.
Yeah.
Like those guys are, and they go under assumed identities, and they're like some of the best shooters in the world.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And it's like, okay, like there are levels to this, and you need to understand where you fit in. And so, guns are great. Like I love them. I find I don't carry them very often. I don't have a lot of them anymore. The guns I do have are all like pretty badass. Like I have a shotgun for fowl hunting, right? But I've got a Benelli Super Vinci 3.5, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my elk hunting rifle is a Viking Armament. It's a $10,000 custom precision rifle, right? And I'm running Leica optics on Leica binos with Straylock apps, and when my pistol, I carry Glock 19 with a competition barrel in it, Ameriglow Pro operators, Ghost Rocker trigger, nothing crazy. But my daily carry that I always have, I run a P320, and then I carry that with an RMR on it, a Hollow Sun RMR.
Yeah.
And I think the RMR changed the game.
What's the RMR?
So it's a reflex sight,
Sight.
Oh,
red dot,
okay, gotcha.
for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
It's a red dot. And I really think like you need, so if you're trained as a classical shooter, like, I go through all the ditties in my head. So like front sight post in the neck and the neck and the neck. So when I start like, that's what we'd say, like in the neck, right? Shout out to Daniel and Dennis for teaching us that. But like that front sight post just has to go on your target, and then you just squeeze until it catches fire, changes shape, right? But when the RMR came out, like, and we started putting them on our weapons, it was just, you had to just, you kind of get lazy on some of the stuff, and it takes an extra second, and the RMR can get thrown off. And let's be honest, like most people don't fire a pistol in anger,
Right.
That's not really practical, unless we're in Chirac. Shout out to Chicago.
That's right.
So like the RMR or something, do you put an RMR in yours?
I have a
or?
507C.
Okay, yeah. So EOTech, right? Yeah.
No, that's Holosum.
Oh, that's 507C. Yep. Yeah, that's the same thing.
What are your
Competition
thoughts
side.
on like everything that's been happening with the 320 lately, the negligence discharge?
I think that is
Crazy.
it is absolutely crazy.
I think they fixed them though. I think this is
Can you explain what's going on?
they're just going off by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they just going off.
You drop
No.
them, they go off.
so
You
I
sneeze and they go off.
I think that people the difference
allergies,
between a
I can't
negligent
imagine.
discharge and an accidental discharge.
Right.
Negligent means that you failed to do something. Accident means that it like no matter what precautions you
Did I
take.
say negligent?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're trained to, because when we fired weapons, it was negligent because that was
Right.
user error. But yeah, they're an accidental, an AD, and like that, it's scary because you're supposed to rely on this. And I'll be honest, I don't inside my truck. If it's on my body, I carry condition and I crotch carry, baby.
Appendix?
So I do an appendix carry. I think that IWB in the waistband.
I switch it up.
I could do that. I've got enough room.
I go appendix or I go on the back.
You know. It's not too
I just bought bigger pants, so like.
Colton, you would need some bigger pants.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Probably.
Everyone's like,
No,
whoa,
Just get
look
one
at
of
this
those baby
guy.
women pistols.
You
Unless
should
you're
just,
okay with
armpit
everybody
carry.
Let's
knowing
get
you're
him a
carrying.
little LC9 like bodyguard or whatever. That
Oh,
is.
yeah.
That has a little laser on the side.
Yeah.
I like when people put lights and stuff. I'm like, dude, I've never killed anybody with a light. That's weird. Surprise! Pop, pop, pop. Like if you're a cop, I get it. I 100%. If you're doing defensive, protective things.
Yeah.
But if you're an assaulter,
No. Well, here's the thing,
Just
because
need more bullets.
they and I never really thought about this because I was thinking about getting a light, just for mostly just recoil purposes. But they're like, if you shine the light at somebody, all they need to do is shoot at the light.
literally,
I know, you know.
literally.
So
Make the day a little easier.
unless like you're gonna get, if it's dark, and all they can see is a light, just shoot the light, shoot at the light, and they'll hit you probably.
Yeah.
So.
What are your thoughts on? And I think this will be like last like CQB question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, there's been the thought of firing off while you go around the.
So are you talking about one man or two man? So one man's
Free fire
J
type
hooking,
stuff.
two man's button hooking, two man's gonna run the long wall, right? So like when you come in a room, how you turn in and then start shooting immediately upon once you break the seal of the breach.
Yeah.
Engaging. I think everything is situation dependent. It depends. Are we doing hostage rescue? Are we doing a capture kill? How many packs are there that are non-combatants? Right. Like what are you kind of expecting based off the intelligence that you've had? Obviously, if you start shooting once you turn a corner, which means like you identify somebody in a room and then you just start shooting immediately, you would better be sure that they're the threat that you assessed them to be.
Yeah.
Because we're not in the game of making mistakes. Like every very, 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 very rarely will the wrong person get killed, because that's the level that you're working at least when bullets are being shot inside of a confined area. But I think that I think it's situation dependent. Everyone trains CQB differently. Like we were doing some training with the SEAL teams, and they were like, they were going gun up, right? We go gun down. So when you move, gun up, but they had gun up, and it's actually, I think it's technically faster, like to get target acquisition when you go from here to there, than from going there to there.
Low ready, high ready type of thing.
But the issue is guess where we train, in these shoot houses, and guess what's on top? Catwalks,
People,
where our instructors are watching.
So,
So
doing low ready.
So we're at a low ready. So like there are training isms that what if they put a glass thing and they could see underneath,
Right.
I don't know. But, everyone kind of does it differently. And I think everything is situation. People ask me, they're like, oh, like, what's the best gun to get? I'm like, whichever one you can shoot the most. It does not matter. Like, you just need to be consistent. You need to learn where your finger, like, I can tell you by how, like, I can look at your target and be like, all right, your finger's too far in, your finger's too far out, you're allowing too much real estate, your grip is not tight enough, you're not rolling, because I can see your shot pattern and be like, okay, if you're equal height, equal light, aligning that and then squeezing the trigger, right? Like I can tell you based off what is happening, like, and I think anybody that's shot a couple times can probably do that.
Yeah.
But I think that it's dependent. What's your feelings on it? What do you think?
No, I just I think it's a symptom of like Rainbow Six Siege players, growing up or.
I mean, back in the day in Afghanistan, like if you had a saw, you'd put. I mean, there are times you take a saw and you just put it in the door jamb and you just rip it through the room, and then breach. It's like okay.
That was your job. You just rip.
Yeah, grip and rip, baby.
Nice.
So, everything is situational dependent, but I think that, and nowadays I'm so far out of all that stuff, I have no clue. What's that quote about a gardener in a war and a warrior in a garden?
Yeah,
it's better to be a gardener in
a warrior in a
garden than a gardener in a war. Yeah.
Tell that to Samwise Gamgee.
Yo, shout out to Samwise. Like, mad respect.
Gardener in a war.
Can you believe he followed Frodo like that far?
Resisted the brain.
I mean,
talk about loyalty.
Yeah.
That's that.
And no gun.
Should we call him a ride or die?
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're giving him ride or die.
Remember when he can't swim? And
He
he's
cried a
like,
lot, though.
he goes, no, Sam.
He was a cry or die too.
Frodo's like, I'm going alone. And Sam goes, of course you are. And I'm coming with you. You're like,
what a great line.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tolkien.
Something I've been thinking about, because like I really like shooting and I want to get better at it, and so I don't know how to get better at it. I watched YouTube, but it's like there's only so much I can do, and so there's only so much I can learn from that. And so I feel like the only way to get better is to like actually try, maybe do matches and stuff, and figure out talk to people. Talk to people who know better, a lot more than I do, because I don't know. I'm not the student who can just sit down, see exactly what you're doing, and then do it. I need you to come over and show me. You know?
And repetition makes everything. We do things. So earlier, Cole's setting all this stuff up. I'm like, dude, how do you know what to do with all it? Like, he's like, hand me that black thing and this thing. And I'm like,
I was watching a YouTube video in my AirPod.
Oh, you were?
Dude, I do that. I do that IRL.
No, I have my hearing aids are great because I can they Bluetooth to my phone, which is bad for my wife. Yeah, my wife hates it. She's like, you have AirPods in all the time. I'm like, what? Huh? What? She's like, you're not deaf with the hearing aids in. I'm like, ookie.
Can I get some of those?
Yeah. I can. We can sell an ID outside. Yeah. It could be good.
You have to park a Porsche handicap.
Yeah, and they get yelled at.
Oh man, that sounds rough.
the risks you run.
The risk you run. Yeah. I think that
Got 2 minutes.
we got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What are we gonna close on?
I feel like we haven't even touched anything.
Yeah. What do we need to talk? We need to talk
who
about
should
something.
we touch?
Oh.
Are we turning off the lights now?
Yeah. We should probably just kiss or something. I don't know.
We end it as like homosexually as we can. I get charged.
That's totally Gen Z. I had a conversation with a buddy the other day, and it was about how the boomer generation, he's very straight guy. He's got a wife and everything.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
And
That's what he said.
Good cover.
He thinks it's really funny to be homoerotic around boomers, because they're always super uncomfortable immediately.
I'm homoerotic around a boomer all the time.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Literally daily.
Whenever he's
You ever done it in the hood?
what?
Like being homoerotic? Like, stop playing.
Oh yeah,
Girl, quit. Where'd you get that shit? Dude, no black dude. He's going to be like, dude, get away from me. Whatever you...
Yeah. Video of the guy at the barber. He's like, did you get that thing all up? He's like, what are you talking about?
I'm just trying to get my hair cut.
Yeah, he's like, did you get it all oiled down? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, your car. You were saying you need to oil it down. You mean get my oil changed? He's like, yeah, did you get that done? He's like, I'm just trying to get my hair done. Why every time I come here for a haircut, you give me this homosexual rigmarole?
So, all right, so you're ex-gay around?
Because Gen Z doesn't care. So like whenever he talks about...
Is he acting?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
Whenever he talks about men...
Who cares?
Yeah, not my problem.
Whenever he talks about men, he always says "big, strong" in front of it. So he'll be like,
I do like that.
exactly.
Yes.
And you reminded me of that, like, here, you know.
Absolutely.
Wait, it's like, instead of he's like, oh yeah, there's like, I was with like 6 buddies of mine. He'll be like, no, I was with 6 big strong men.
I love that so much.
I think we should do that for
Yeah.
a day.
This podcast is
Just-
now called 5 Big Strong Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Amazing.
a boomer.
And a boomer.
5 big strong men and a boomer. That's funny.
In a boomer. Yeah. Well, thank you, Cole, for putting this together.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's tough.
Shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
No,
Right in your legs, Grant.
we'll have to do it again
My
because
wife is calling.
Amazing.
It's
The
perfect
end.
time.